it was skyworthy. Mr. L. Flower piloted us to the outskirts of Shitpile. Along the way, Mr. Roadkill reiterated that he did not want to bring Zeke, the strange man from town, along with us on our journey off-world. I stayed behind with Mr. Jenko Quick to finish checking the ship, and Mr. Jeff stayed with us. The others went into town to procure the last supplies we needed for takeoff. Mr. L. Flower called me a dog food can, and I must admit that I did not know that it was possible to feel this level of hurt. Tell me, Jeeves, is this what all organic sentients feel when they are offended? The others were met with Sheriff Simon and Zeke, who flagged them down before they were able to get to Blurpies. The sheriff laid out his suspicions that the parts we used to repair the ship were stolen from Mr. Cletus Jones' workshop. Mr. Zeke had apparently testified that he had seen a creature matching Mr. Quick's description at the shop around the time that the parts disappeared. Mr. Roadkill managed to sneak the stolen medication from Jun Kim's shack back into Mr. Zeke's bag, with the former being none the wiser. Sheriff Zeke began interrogating us one by one. He also summoned Mr. Cletus to investigate the ship, who confirmed that the parts were indeed the ones stolen from his shop.
Boot sequence initiated. Running surprise _betrayal_exe protocol.
Yes! Oh my, I am clutching my pearls. This was entirely unexpected and an unforeseen development. Mr. Roadkill let slip that the parts had been bought from Mr. Zeke, which piqued Sheriff Simon's curiosity. We were all brought into custody, and we were then questioned one by one in the town jail. Mr. Roadkill was an iron wall and did not crack under the sheriff's scrutiny. Mr. Quick was more honest with the sheriff and told him that he assumed that Zeke was an upstanding citizen who offered the parts in exchange for passage off-world. Both of my companions admitted that it may have been an oversight to not inquire further into the origins of the components. I, however, made no such admission. I did exactly as you taught me, Jeeves. Answer a question with a question, plead ignorance, and be evasive. Do not give in to the pigs. But in this case, I genuinely did not know the origin of the parts. I have searched my memory banks and have discovered no such knowledge prior to the timestamp of the interrogations. Mr. Zeke was later brought out of the interrogation room in handcuffs. Sheriff Simon found the drugs stolen from Jun Kim amongst his belongings. Zeke admitted to having stolen the parts, but claimed that we were trying to pin the blame solely on him when it became clear that we would not be able to skip out on Mr. Roadkill's deal. Sheriff Simon promised a plea deal/compromise. We would be allowed to finish repairs under supervision, and then be escorted off-world one by one over the course of the next 16 days, with the empty seats being occupied by the ship-pile survivors. We all agreed to this, but Mr. Colley waited until that evening to express to Mr. Jenko and I that this was a highly undesirable arrangement, as he had time-sensitive business to attend to on Saragon 3, and could not play the part of interstellar bus driver for the next month. I attempted to explain to him the logistics that we had made a deal and that we owed it to the town to aid in the evacuation, but Mr. L. Flower insisted that the life of one person was more important than the life of 30-plus individuals. Oh well, you cannot win them all. Ms. Sarah Lockhart and Mr. Roadkill proposed an alternative plan. Mr. L. Flower and I would be among the first to be evacuated. We would ask the sheriff to send the town's pilot, Billy, along with us so that he and Mr. L. Flower could switch off during the voyage. Then, Mr. L. Flower would disappear the second we landed. The town would be forced to rely on the other pilot for evacuation, and Mr. L. Flower would be able to look for his mommy dearest. The sheriff agreed to send the secondary pilot, and that is where we are now. I expect to be able to get in touch with you shortly. I do hope that Mr. L. Flower finds what he is looking for, as he nearly endangered the lives of an entire town to do it. This concludes my transmission. Peace to my home dogs. Word. Weevil out.
End transmission.
Very good. Way to roast Collie. Fucking get him. You love your mom. It's gay.
Know what a mother is.
Yeah. We've only has a daddy. Anyway, take your inspiration, you filthy animal.
Hell.
Fantastic. So, we join essentially in stagnated time, imagining I'm giving you this narration 4 days apart from one another. As you all land on Saragon 3.
See you guys on Thursday. Bye.
Entering the atmosphere via the ore miner container, cruising down with Billy's steady hand guiding you, and landing on the ship port landing bays of the city of Polis on Saragon 3. As you do, you all receive a number of bleeps, bloops, rings, dings, buzzes, razzes, and other vibrations from your comm pads and internal communication devices as you're finally connected to a Nova Core-wide network of public Wi-Fi. You have cell phone signal. And the past week's worth of messages. Granted, you've been on a planet with long days, so it's actually slightly more than what is referred to as a GS day, a Galactic Standard Day. It's been closer to 12 of those, but 6 to 7, as far as you're aware. So you've been missing for that amount of time, and your phones are now all updating wildly. You get a number of things, including the standard, and this is how we're going to kind of do faction turns in this game, which is shit happens when you're not paying attention, and you're somehow going to find out about it via news articles. You all receive the GCX broadcast, the sector-wide news network, very popular amongst those who want to stay in the know. It broadcasts sector-wide news as well as local system-wide news that is specified via using your compad's longitude, latitude, location. It sounds off as follows.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, worker bots, and others. Thank you for tuning into Galactic Commons News. I am programmed to be your host, GCX45, and my subroutines are telling me it's time for some news. On the sector scale, we have some encouraging news from the front lines of the ongoing attacks in the Third Cold War. GCN inside sources report a mercenary team of Dax and Marines that have dealt a devastating blow to the Third Cold Hive, Titan. For those of you not in the know, this is one of the largest frequent spawning hives for infantrymen and field medics. This is truly a devastating blow to their forces. Sources say the hive's destruction was brought about by an elite squad of fraction soldiers crash-landed on the Titan's home planet, Gordon. We'll have to wait to see what bloodshed is to follow in retaliation. In other sector news, the new Alliance of Terra is still looking to broker a trade with Nova Core and micro subsidiaries. However, it seems that governmental bodies are refusing to come to the table regarding any negotiations whatsoever after the NAT split from Nova Core some 15 standard cycles back. The NAT is sure to be hurting without access to the government's rich pipeline of resources and labor. However, only time will tell if the rebelling nation will stand the test of time. Will return to the fold. But a reporter on the scene, GCX62, received this statement from a local NAT on its capital planet of Return.
Yeah, we may not have all the fancy infrastructure of a Nova Core planet, but what we have is freedom, man. Something those stooges stuck under the thumb of those megacorps wouldn't fucking understand. And hey, Rick Moses, if you're listening, you fat cat piece of shit.
Oops, sorry folks. Looks like we had to cut things off there. In system news, looks like the construction of the Dawn's Gleam Megafactory is well underway. The head of Godwater Labs, Joseph Godwater, will receive construction personally for the time being. Great strides have been made on the 98 factory's construction over the past month. It is only a matter of time before production can begin, and locals have mixed feeling on the amount of tourism, collusion, and corporate influence this factory may or may not bring in. Second, in local news, strange electrical pulses have been radiating through Saragon 3's City of Junus's internal electric grid. This has caused numerous surges, overloads, and fires. City officials are looking into the cause of these electrical surges, but have run into a number of roadblocks. They are requesting electrical engineers and computer-savvy mercenaries and tradesmen to head to the City Hall of Junus and discuss contract employment investigating the matter. In other news, we received an unusual advertisement request, this one not to promote a product, but rather to get the word out on missing persons. Candy Sweet Star, once famed pop star of moderate renown, has allegedly gone missing. The pop star was meant to land planetside on Zerodon 3 nearly 12 standard cycles back, but Sweet Star, along with the entirety of the freighter he was passenger on, has seemingly gone missing. If anyone has any information regarding Mr. Sweet Star whereabouts, please contact Megami Sweet Star using the contact information in the metadata of this broadcast. Finally, in crime, smuggling efforts to populate Ceradon 3's street corners with cash, a hallucinogenic drug, have doubled in the past few weeks. Law enforcement officers are offering up to a 500 credit reward regarding any information around the stoppage of theft dealers. They have imposed a curfew of midnight within the lower sectors of the cities of Polis, Tunis, and Cardis. Breaking curfew carries a sentence of up to 30 days in custody and a 200 credit fine. I've been programmed to be your host, GCX45, and you've been wonderful. And remember, folks, keep it cold out there.
Alrighty, I have a couple questions because that was a lot of info, but that was also fucking dope, Alex. Props to you because that was really good. From the script to the production, I dig that a lot.
Yeah, so this broadcast rolls out along with a number of different messages, by the way. I should kind of clarify. You guys get a variety of text messages along with audio messages. Weevil and Kali, as you were the first to arrive on the planet, you guys received the following. Weevil, you get a pling international, or rather interstellar message carried to you from the NDHC, and it is very clearly from Jeeves. It reads,
Hey, buddy. So this is a little unusual for me, but it's been a minute, and I haven't really heard from you, which is, as you know, kind of unusual for the likes of you. So, I hope you made it to Saragon 3 safe and sound, and I hope you were able to hitch a ride to Saragon 2 and locate the source of that beacon. But something in my gut is telling me that, you ran into some trouble along the way, otherwise you would have called me the second you landed. I mean, what the hell, kid? Who are you to keep an old man worrying like me, alright? So, give me a call when you get the chance. Send me a message, and, in the meantime, I've been good. Don't worry about me sorting things out with those guys that I talked about, so don't stress it. Talk to you soon, kid.
and Kali, you received the following from a unsaved number in your phone, but one that you recognize to be your father's.
Hey, kiddo. It's me, Dad. Hope you're doing well. Well, it's been a while since we talked, but I hope you're staying safe out there and being responsible. And, well, the reason for my call is because, I'm gonna have to cut to the chase here. I got word of an incident come Lachlan way about, a rather bloody affair that happened on my partner's property, Mr. Godwater. He, a number of heirs and heiresses were killed by his home security system in a dangerous malfunction, and it's been covered up by many of the news outlets, but the reason I'm calling you, Coley, is because, let's just say there was evidence of you at the scene. And, well, first, I just want to make sure that you're okay. It's been a while since we talked, and I want to make sure that, you're alive and well. So please give me a call back when you get the chance to confirm that. But, second, and, maybe more importantly, did you have anything to do with this? Are you... Look, you can't be poking your nose around Mr. Godwater's business. It's not good for any of us. So please, come home, and don't do anything stupid.
And with that, a number of software updates and environmental scans and planet-side information also rolls in. I'm going to hit you with a bunch of handouts. Here's one for the Mako Corporation that has made the ore miner, rather, that you guys were piloting. That one's not really relevant here. I just forgot to give you that. Here's one for Godwater Labs, because that's now, yep, those are both under minor factions. Here is one for Saragon 3, the planet of which you have landed on. You guys get these reads about terrain, diameter, day length, year length, etc., population. Here is an additional one for Dawn's Gleam as well. And I believe that's all of them. That's all the handouts I have for you. So with that, as you guys land on the planet, we can get more into what the two of you are initially doing in your 4 days prior to Janko arriving. I will take either of you first.
Bro, holy shit, look how much Godwater Labs is worth. Oh my god.
Oh my god, water.
Yeah,
Wait,
50
where's the,
billion credits.
Where does it say that?
It's in the Godwater Labs description.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I was looking at it on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, so now the floor's open to questions, as well as what you plan on doing in your 4 days. What's your first move as you get off the ore miner and are free to explore the city? You guys have this information on hand.
Yeah, I'm assuming you and I both know what we'd like to do, Nick. I don't know if you want to go first because Kali disappears, and so like maybe it'd be interesting to follow him, but I also have plenty of stuff that Weevil would immediately start doing, and he wants to have a conversation with Billy before he flies off, so I'm good with either.
I think you can take the helm.
Alrighty. So, yeah, as we touch down and Weevil gets all these updates and, but like, I'm just assuming the other refugees in the car with us probably get like the same kind of thing, assuming they've got comm pads for general use that are just like, oh my god, it updated from iOS 7 to 45. And then, they get calls from loved ones or whatever, and Weevil hears the message from Jeeves, and he makes note of that and begins to think of a response. But once we've landed and he's off the boat, he's been thinking a little bit about what the next move would be, and he has some ideas based on the news update. But his original plan, assuming Kali disappears kind of immediately, Weevil talks to Billy once he's had a little bit of a chance to cool down, or sometime within this window, depending on when you're planning on disappearing, Nick. But Weevil will go up to Billy when he's in not an angry mindset, because he doesn't want to try and talk to him when he's feeling like absolute shit. But he goes up to Billy, who's probably smoking a cigarette, and he goes,
Greetings, Billy. This is my Weevil voice, right? Yeah, cool. Greetings, Billy. I would like to discuss the potential for a negotiation after the evacuation has been completed. Would you be able to convey a message to Mr. Simon for me?
Yeah, Billy's kind of been kicking the side of the ore miner for the past 20 minutes, chain smoking cigarettes, pissed that he's now locked into this month-long contract of driving a bus because somebody skipped out on the responsibility. And he looks at you with furrowed brows, cigarette in hand. He's like, "What? Sorry, what are you talking about, man? What kind of negotiation? What are you talking about?"
After the evacuation has been completed, I would like to discuss what Mr. Simon would require in order to relinquish ownership of the ore miner and pass it over to myself. I'm willing to work to find lodging for the members of the reptile community in the short term.
He kind of spits on the ground for a second and gives you a kind of curious look. He's like, "And what's a junk bot one with an ore miner? You know how to fly this thing even? What do you?"
I believe that it would open the options in the near future to myself and the other members who are going to be landing in the next few days substantially. I'm not sure what our ultimate plan is, but I would like to have some form of transportation across the planet and off-world.
Wait, what other other member? You mean like the people in ship pile that are being rescued? You think they're gonna want to go back into space?
No, I mean the people that survived the crash of the Isabella. I have multiple matters off-world, as I do not plan on staying in the long term on Saragon 3, and it would be nice to have some form of vehicle for the short term.
Right, so you want this ship for you and all the people that crash landed with you, that all the new people that came to ship pile not too long ago, right?
Yes, but mostly for myself, as I do not know what their individual plans are.
So you want me to talk to just I'm just making sure I got because I'm not in the clearest states right now. You want me to talk to Simon to get you the rights to this boat for yourself and the old drunk and the fur ball and that lady and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt who skipped out.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure what is going to happen with Mr. L. Flower, but this ship would just be for me, for now.
He kind of stares you down for a minute and goes, "Yeah, I'll talk to Simon. I'll tell him what you told me."
I will attempt to do my best to help the residents of Shipmile in the short term as well, as a gesture of goodwill.
Sure, whatever. He's like, I gotta get going.
Take care and safe flying, Billy.
Yep. And he's gonna fuck off.
Yeah, and then I'll catch up with him the next time he's planet-side, but...
Okay.
And then after that, so if I remember correctly, there were 6 people in the cargo hold, Weevil and Billy included, so there's 4 random ship pilers just kind of milling around without really anything to do.
Well, they're gonna go live their lives, but sure.
I'm just operating under the assumption. I'm operating under the assumption that they were crash survivors, not necessarily bound for Saragon 3. So, I'll talk to them and I'll say,
Hello, I assume that some of you have lives to live, as a source has told me that. But I would like to extend the offer that if any of you are searching for accommodations, I would be willing to aid in that search. In the short term.
Yeah, how do you, I guess, how do you plan,
everyone lives on Saragon 3.
How do you plan to do that, I guess?
Yeah, so...
are you gonna buy them a motel room, or...?
He pulls up his compad and begins searching for hostels or...
Sure, yeah, I mean, there's hotels, yeah. I guess we're talking broad strokes here because I don't need to introduce you to this random NPC to have you then walk over and then talk to the innkeeper and then blah blah blah. I guess I'm just talking somebody takes you up on the offer and they're like, yeah, if you can help us find a place to stay for a few days, sure. And then of course most of these places have costs attached to them. So are you gonna pay for that? Or...
Yeah, Weevil walks into this lobby and basically his offer is I'll work for you for 16 days as an around-the-clock clerk, bellhop, handyman, whatever you need. I don't fucking sleep, so maybe 2 hours a night I'll need to charge, and then or on your lunch break you could come check things out while I take my rest. And in exchange, I'd like you to put these people up for a few days as well as a couple more in the near future. And also, I want to be able to charge my battery and use your internet, but that's it.
Yeah, that's an agreeable deal to the proprietor, a large, flaky-skinned, deep red-hued Gracool man by the name of
Philip
Wiener.
No, he goes by the nickname of Biggs. And he says, there's a lot to be fixing around here, for sure, yeah. I have a lot of vacancies, and I'll put everybody up for 20 days, give or take, the rest of the month, basically. And you're gonna work your ass off for me. Because I got some pipes that need fixing, some electrical wiring that needs to be torn out, some antennas that need adjusting. I got some caulk that needs recaulking. I got some spackle that needs spreading.
I do not have an ass to work off, so that sounds agreeable to me.
And Weevil will offer him a handshake. And,
Wonderful.
he'll do it.
So you set that deal up, and essentially you're going to secure. But the majority of your now time until Simon is back on planet side is going to be reserved for this man's beck and call.
Yeah, that's cool. As long as, I'm assuming it's a shitty dive, so he'll have a little bit of time to search the internet. That's all he wants.
Yeah, you can search the internet. You just, no out-of-town trips or whatever. Cool. So that's going to take up the majority of your time for those first 4 days while you start some long projects that he has been sitting on forever and just hasn't gotten to. Very little time to yourself after that. Collie. That's just for the first 4 days. But yeah, Collie, what are you doing?
Okay. I've already split, right?
Yeah. First 4 days, you're free to roam around the cabin as you wish on Saragon 3.
Wait, I'm free to roam around the cabin?
Yeah, it's an expression.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I thought we were off the ship.
You're in a log cabin, actually.
Yeah.
Oh god, I don't actually. This is tough because the only details I really know about where my mom would be is that she's on Saragon 3. She's staying with her new fiance while the Uzumaki deal completes. And she'll be there for 2 more months, but that was back then, so she's probably got a couple weeks, if that. Fuck, I think I just need to I took that picture, right? Yeah,
Sure.
I totally took that picture of my mom and Ember, or my mom is Ember, of my mom and the Godwater people. Maybe I could go to an upscale, they're rich as shit, or at least who she's with is rich as shit. So maybe I could try and find an upscale kind of bar, restaurant or something, and then ask a waiter or a host or something if they've seen this person.
Yeah, the city is built relatively vertically. You can kind of somewhat see this in the oh, actually, sorry, I didn't drag you on the art yet. The photo of the city here. And it was mentioned in the broadcast as well, the news broadcast. The lower sections of the city have a curfew, and it's very much hierarchical in both verticality and societal status. The buildings get nicer the higher you up, and they go down like scaffolding and get grungier and dirtier. So landing on the top level, you kind of stick around there, and you can find a relatively classy gin joint. You waltz into a place called Waterworks and are able to ask around, and with enough given and taken, it's you're asking specifically if anybody has seen your mother.
Yeah, I have the picture. I'll show them and point to her. Maybe any of them. I'll be any of the people in the photo, but specifically this woman.
I was gonna say, you get a lot of I haven't seen your mom, I haven't seen that lady. No, I don't know who she is. But she says that fella, you get a lot of that guy. Him right there. He's done so and so, and everybody's pointing to Joseph Godwater. And one particularly looped-in gentleman drinking at this bar in the middle of the afternoon. Informs you that Joseph Godwater is actually building a massive mega factory on this planet, and he's been gallivanting about town kind of talking about it for the past month or so. He's apparently overseeing construction. They're going to start manufacturing Dawn's Gleam here. He's particularly excited because it's going to bring a lot of factory jobs to the city. But
Wait,
he says
that's perfect. Do you know where it would be?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, the factory is being built on the outskirts of the city, about 50 miles out of town, due north. I think this guy, he recently bought a mansion, a villa, on the outskirts of town, north side, towards the city edge. He says, I think it's in the Q34 district area, whereabouts, And that's easily, researchable. you have a map of the city. Essentially, you can Google a map of the city now that you have internet.
Do you like know what this guy looks like? Any way you could, any details, hair color, how like tall he is, or?
You're talking about the guy in the photo? He looks like that.
No, I thought you said some guy bought a villa in
No.
Q34.
It's Joseph Godwater. He's talking about Joseph Godwater.
Okay.
He recently came to town. He's building a big factory. He's been coming around town talking about it, and he recently bought a villa. Yeah, it's all Joseph. He's talking about there. Nobody recognizes your mom, and one guy is like, I think I saw him around town a while back. I'm not sure though, and he's pointing at your dad in that photo. But he's the only
thanks, dude. That was perfect. I'll throw them. Can I give them a credit and like a tip if they gave me something?
Sure. Yeah, you give that guy a credit. It was helpful to you.
The fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. He goes, you're like, hold out your wrist. Let me give you a chance. Let me give you a little tip, man. And he checks it. He's like, 1 credit? What the fuck?
Like, thanks for the help.
Alright,
It flipped off the rail.
yeah, that takes you the better part of a day to just information gather. What do you do with the rest of your time? You have 3 more days before we skip time again.
I would say if I know about that villa, I'd probably try to track it down in some sense. You know, that's like my main. Yeah, that's my main idea. And then
That
I
is-
think the villa is the closest thing.
That is not hard to do. Asking enough people around town about the Godwater mansion, Joseph Godwater, the guy in the picture, you are able to track down this villa. It is essentially built at the top of a craggy hill. Not at the top of the hill, but part of the way up a hill, with the back side of the villa kind of being overshadowed by a craggy cliff face, long spiral driveway leading down to the rest of the city, gate at the front, gate at the top as well, walls around the villa itself that are built into the side of the craggy manor, that come out to that second gate, and you notice a sizable security force, both of automated nature and man nature. There is a sort of a toll booth right outside of that front gate on the street side, where seems to be a security guard kind of posted up. You also notice a couple of just very low tech, easy kind of TL4, nothing crazy sci-fi considered wise, drones kind of patrolling the spot, just doing little laps around the interior wall, as well as a couple of security guards coming in and out as well, like running coffee to the guy outside and stuff like that. It looks like this place is got some protection behind it. Logic tells you it may or may not be because he is building a factory here and wants everything to go smoothly, because one of his other houses just had a mass murder at it, or because maybe your mom's in here and he's guarding her. It could be a variety of reasons, but the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, there's a lot of security here. You're able to locate his house, though. Yeah.
Okay, word.
With that information, do you do anything else over the next couple of days, or do you wait for Jenko and everybody and maybe try and, I don't know.
I don't think storming this castle is a great idea right now. I think if we could, so I don't hog so much time, I think what I would like to do is try to find some sort of home base kind of near this spot, potentially with a view of it, if that's possible, because before running away, I did steal 700 credits. I guess now I have 699.
Yeah, make sure you take that credit off. Yeah, you're able to get if you want, you're able to get essentially a hotel room within viewing distance of this place. It's a side view where you can go out on your balcony, and if you overlook your balcony, you can kind of see this place in the distance. It's a couple blocks away, essentially, so it's not right on like the precipice, but it's
Yeah,
gonna
I'd rather
cost
not
you.
do it, no.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you 5 credits a night.
Oh my god, that's wow! I was expecting so much more. I guess I still don't know the value of a credit.
It gives
But,
you one spin in a roulette wheel and also a gun.
Dude, I was expecting like 200, 300 credits a night because we're
Yeah,
up
me
in like
too.
the higher scale, but 5 is
No,
fucking easy. I'll take that.
yeah, lifestyle for a good lifestyle in this game. These are the lifestyle costs per day. Slum is 5 credits a day, poor is 10 credits a day, common is 15, good is 25, elite is 200, peerless is 1,000. So this is technically a good room, but because it's not the entire cost of living, it's a fifth of essentially that cost of 25 credits, so it's just 5 per day. If you want
Yeah.
food and room service, it's gonna cost you, that's gonna where the rest of the 20 is gonna come from, but.
I think for now, the 5 is a fucking steal. I will absolutely get that, especially because my homies, when they come into town, are probably, as far as I know, they are not going to have any place to stay. So we could all lodge up here. If I want to go back to them, cough cough, Nick does. And I'm trying to be like, why would Collie go back? But he is, because no shit.
Check it out, dude. We got one king bed to share.
Yeah, basically.
man, like bro, cuddle puddle. But yeah, I think I want to get this room. I'd love to get that. Yeah, man. So I'd love the room, specifically this one with the balcony, because I love a view. Ha.
Yeah, and you're rented that room out, and if you want, you can spend the next couple of days kind of occasionally scouting this place out to get patterns down and come up with plans and stuff like that. Does that sound about right, or do you got anything else?
It sounds like right up my alley, bro. And then just like big stake. If I could buy like a pair of binoculars or something. Actually, no, I don't need it. Weevil has binoculars. We're good.
Janko, you land planetside 4 days after your other 2 compatriots. A disgruntled Billy rather, lands on the planet. All right, everybody get the fuck on. And you're in that next group. He's like, we're going to Saragon 3. God damn it, I'm sick and tired of this already. He drives you the 2 days it takes to get to Saragon 3. Drops you off at the landing port, wishes everybody, that you and the other 5 passengers, good luck, and then zips off to complete the rest of his runs. Do you have anything you want to? You get this same info dump via the GCX news. However, no missed messages on your phone from, your employers, who are probably all dead via the freighter crash, and none from your family either.
Fair enough.
What do you do with your 4 days?
First, Jacob spends a few minutes just Xing out notifications for like products trying to sell him shit on his phone. Just
Raid Shadow Legend.
just Xing all of it out. And he's probably gonna just go first things first, look for. So Weevil like set up like a living situation, right?
Yeah, I would say Weevil is going to be in the area, so if he's not right at the landing strip, I don't want to hijack this either, so I'll just say my piece and let you do your thing. But he would plan on being like, hey, boss, I need like 2 hours to go get some new people for you, and then I'll be back and I'll fix that leaky toilet in Route 5.
Yeah, presumably Weevil is there when the passengers get dropped off, because he has to escort them to this housing situation he set up for them, and so...
Yeah, so I'm also there with Janko, talking with, like, able to tell him what the situation is, and he can do his own business while we wait for the rest of the group to reconvene. But Weevil is tied up.
All right, cool. I'll just make sure that like we're all aware of when to meet up and all that shit. But on my own, Janko's gonna probably check out like a local dive bar, order some bar food, just maybe a cheap drink, a brand he's never had before if he can find one. Just explore a little, and then once he's settled in, down to business, he's probably gonna look into any leads he can get on finding info on his father. But I think that the best bet is the fact that the New Alliance of Terra is looking to trade, but it's hard to do during this whole like war situation. And I feel like that might be the perfect place for a smuggler to find their way in. If Janko could find any sort of sketchy, like back alley kind of audience, he'd look into that and start asking around. Not like name dropping or anything, just trying to think if he could figure out if anybody suspects maybe just vaguely a Palgan who's been dealing with New Alliance and some shady shit.
Before I get to how that works, do you have anything else you want to do during those 4 days? If not, that's fine. I want to get this before I kind of just go on a quick narration tirade.
Okay. I'm gonna look into buying one health item. What was that? That stim thing. That's
like
pretty. The mid combat one.
Yeah, lift.
That'll stabilize somebody.
Lift.
Yeah. What's the price on lift again?
It doesn't have a price. I don't think it does, at least. Let me double check.
I know we burned through some medical stuff during that fight, but anyway, I'll do that, and then also, I'll investigate the cost of like potentially sort of light armor, like street armor.
Lift costs, here it's going to cost 75 credits.
Okay.
Per dose.
I'm looking in the manual right now at something like woven body armor on page 65, like 400 credits.
Yep.
I think if you add that to your forced Povis, that's you get +1 from the forced Povis. That'll be like a 16 AC.
Yep. The woven body armor, unfortunately, is going to be 450 on this planet because this place has slightly inflated prices based on the fact that they are not a proper TL4 circulated, integrated society. They have these things available in things, but the price is higher because they aren't in like the heart of Novacore territory and supply chain additional costs.
All right, fair enough. I'll hold off on buying it then, but I'm just trying to get my eyes on it. Janko feels a little. He hasn't been shot like this before. In the past week, it's kind of a first. And he's kind of scared. So.
But if you want to make those purchases, if you decide to, that those are the costs: 450 and 75 for the armor and lift, respectively. Other than that, you spend a couple of days kind of ingratiating yourself with some locals, drinking at bars, sipping a beer here and there, and like kind of seeing who looks seedy, chatting them up. Kind of getting to know, hey, do you want to go back for a cigarette, and talking some shady business deals a little bit just to get the lowdown. And unfortunately, there's a couple of false leads. You got any Palgan friends that are in the? Oh yeah, I got this buddy Scratch. He's got one eye, and you're like, oh, that's not right. A couple of false leads like that happen, but eventually you stumble onto not the answer, but a proper lead about a couple people tell you essentially through the grapevine that. Well, if you're talking smuggling, if you're talking getting things from point A to point B, and if you're talking like unusual people that want to stay off the grid, Polis is not your place. This place is too fancy. You want to go to the city of Junis. It's about a few hundred miles to the east, and it's got a kind of seedy underbelly that might kind of suit what you're looking for.
Okay, Unis, you said?
Junis, Junis.
Junis. Okay. Cool. I'm not gonna go all the way out there, but I appreciate it. Appreciate the info. I'm just gonna sit on that for now.
Yeah, so those are the tips you get. Finally, Rhodey, as you land on the planet, you receive a message along with the general news update. You get one from a familiar number in your phone. Eugene Asshole Polyps. The message reads as follows.
Hey, if it isn't my favorite clients, Rhodey, and, my second favorite client all in one. How you doing, Rhodey? Just giving you a call here. I see you're not picking up. Looks like the call didn't go through. I just wanted to ask you, where the fuck are you? It's been, 6-7 days since you were supposed to land on Saragon 3. I had things lined up. I had business deals, and you and Candy, I can't get a hold of the guy either. Where the fuck are you two? Call me when you get this.
Yep.
Anything
And
from Rose?
nothing from Rose, as your messages have not gone out to her yet. So, nothing from her aside from that last message about her kind of being upset that you missed your little call that she never really seemed too interested in anyway. As Billy tells you, farewell, get off my boat. I got a few more runs to go. He's ushering everybody off the boat. You get this message, you're listening to it. You get the news broadcast, the lowdown on the environmental status of this planet. You see Weevil at the end of the docks, ready to welcome.
He's got a big sign that says Saragon 2 written in Sharpie.
Yeah, he's got a little chauffeur's hat on, and as you get halfway to Weevil, just to at least maybe check in with him, or at least just get to the end of the dock, somebody springs up and jumps in your way, and you recognize her as somebody that would follow Candy around on tour a lot. Always his biggest fan, always with a big sign in the front row, always with the VIP tickets. Very annoying, very rambunctious, but Candy loved the attention, so he loved her. A young woman by the name of Megami, and she looks haggard. She looks like she has been out in the sun for days, as she finally kind of jumps to her feet and cuts you off. She's like, hey, Rhodey, right? Good to see you. Where's Mr. Candy?
Now, to be clear, it's been, roughly, we were on Saragon 2 for what, something like that?
About a week of Saragon 2 days, but about 2 weeks in the rest of the world. About 2 weeks standard days.
Okay.
So this is a case of certain people. Your manager, for example, knows that you guys were supposed to land about 2 weeks ago, and you guys just haven't landed 2 weeks ago. So something, Eugene is freaking out, and this woman, in the nutshell, who is way too on Candy's pulse, seemingly is on the know as well. And you recognize as well, if you listen to the not to really connect all the dots for you, but if you listen to the broadcast too, one of the last pieces of local news was an advertising ad that was actually a missing persons ad that she has taken out on Candy.
Yes. Do I know her name? Would she be that annoying that I would know her name?
Yeah, she knows your name, and
right.
You know her. She's been around. Yeah. You've had to deny her backstage access many times.
All right. Okay. Hello, Megumi.
It's Megami, but yeah. Where's Candy? I heard he was supposed to be in town a couple weeks ago, and I talked to Eugene. He said you guys would be coming in any day now, and I've been waiting and look at it. And she lifts the bottom of her shirt up to show you her stomach. She's like, I am sunburned to hell, but you're here now. Where's Candy? Where's Candy, Rhodey? Where's Candy?
Candy's not. Yeah, well, calm down there, Megami. Candy's not feeling too good. So he got a little sick, and he's doing a little spa rehab thing.
Oh, on
Right,
the
he's-
on the ship you guys came on, yeah, and that big yellow piece of.
No,
Trash.
he's somewhere. I was taking a little detour, and he's somewhere else. Not on that ship.
Okay, where is he then?
Yeah, it's a private.
Oh, you can tell me. I'm his biggest fan. You can tell me.
I know that. I know I can, and yet I will use.
Look, I
Why
want
don't
the
you-
best.
why don't
I
you
want the
just-
best for him. I'll make him that
I
soup I
know.
made him that one time when he had
know.
laryngitis and he had all the problems with his throat. And he couldn't. And I made him that soup and he felt better. Remember that? I'll do it. I'll make him feel better. Where is he? Just tell me where he is. Just tell me where he is.
You know what? He is funny. The last thing that he said to me before we parted ways, and he said that he'd meet me here, was how much he looks forward to seeing your face when he's on stage. So he appreciates you so much, kid. But yeah, he's just running a little behind. How about this? The next performance, I'll get you backstage passes. How about that?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
I promise. Next time he performs, okay? But I gotta go, okay?
Yeah. Okay. And as you go to walk by her, she kind of grabs you by the arm real quick, and she's like, "He's gonna be okay, right? He's not that sick, right?"
No, not that kind of sick. He's more like I drank a little too much kind of sick. Not like I'm gonna die on a hostile desert planet sick.
Okay. Yeah. And she kind of lets go of your arm. She goes, "I'll be looking for those backstage passes on my email." Don't let me down, Rhodey. Don't let me down. You.
I wouldn't dream of it. My very well adjusted friend begging me. Okay, I gotta go.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, I walk away.
You walk away. What do you want to do with your free time on Saragon? Oh, yeah. What do you do with You have a little bit of free time. I don't want to say 4 whole days because you're not necessarily waiting on anybody.
On the last one, yeah.
Yeah.
If Mukumi is
I'm
the one
actually-
who
so I
ultimately
see-
killed Brody.
I see one. Oh, I see Weevil at the end of the dock. I'm debating even going to say hi to him.
He flips the sign around and it says, "Hi, Rhodey!" Exclamation point.
Oh fuck! I guess he saw me. God damn it!
It doesn't, but he probably did see you. He's looking.
Yeah, Rhodey. I guess because I mean, yeah, I would have to walk that way anyway, and I'm certainly not going to ignore him. I'll go up to Weevil and hey, Tin Can, you doing okay?
I am doing well. I have secured lodging for most of the survivors of Shitpile in the interim while they get their feet underneath them. I have also negotiated that you and Jenko should be able to stay there as well. It is not glamorous, but it has beds, and as far as I can tell, no parasites.
Better than where we're coming from, I guess. Appreciate it, Tin Can.
Thank you, dog food.
I'll kind of like pat him on the would-be shoulder.
It falls off.
Yeah,
You pat him on the shoulder and get 2nd-degree burns on your hand as Weevil's been standing out in the sun all day. He's 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna fuck off because I gotta go call Gene. Or you know what? I can go to the hotel and I'll call Gene there. So
Yeah. Do whatever the hell you want. Weevil's not gonna force you to do anything, but he's just like, yeah, go to the hotel when you want.
Yeah, I'll go to the hotel and I'll kind of like check in, do all that kind of shit, and we can kind of speed past that, I guess. But I do want to call Eugene.
Yeah. He is luckily planet side, it seems like, or system side. So phone calls are for reference for everybody. Phone calls within a system, if you have signal via a network of satellites and the like, are almost instantaneous. If you want to go out of system, you unfortunately have to just basically send messages or voice memos back and forth, because it needs time to travel through hundreds and thousands of millions of miles of space between star systems. But you give him a call, you know he's supposed to be waiting for you in Saragon 3, your call goes through.
Hey, bud. I was waiting for your call. How's you and the big guy? You guys finally made it, on board? I've been waiting to fucking talk to you.
Yeah, Eugene. See, we're in a bit of a pickle. I think it might be best that you and I meet up and talk about this face to face.
The phone clicks silent, and you immediately ping, get a text message of an address, and it is a bar called The Gust. About a 20-minute walk from your hotel, it seems, or motel.
Alright, cool. I will go towards the gut.
Yeah, you go there. It is kind of like a rundown dive bar cantina-esque. Imagine kind of like the cantina from Star Wars, but a little less rough and tumble. You're able to spot Eugene behind like a beaded curtain in like a booth. It's like a semi-private VIP booth thing, and he's talking to a Alderaan woman who's all glammed up, kind of in a similar aesthetic to Candy almost. Like you can tell she's like maybe some sort of performer, and he's like schmoozing her over with a cigar and blah blah blah, and she's like nodding, you know, not violently but very enthusiastically as he talks to her. And he kind of shoos her off as he sees you, and I'm sure you approach.
Yes.
Rhodey, have a seat. I have some things I want to talk to you about too. But why don't you go first, since you got a lot of explaining to do, my friend?
Yeah, Eugene, why don't I go first? We crash landed on Saragon 2. The Isabella went down, and well, Candy got captured by a few raiders, and they're requesting a sum of 300 credits to let them go. And we only barely got off the planet by hobbling together an ore miner. But considering the last payment that you sent me was nothing, I wasn't able to get him out of his bind, and now I need to do so.
Well, Rhodey, you are Candy's personal security. That is what I pay you for. And, you know, regarding your last check, unfortunately, you violated one too many terms of your contract, you damaged too much venue property, you went over your tab on the personal hotel bars. I don't know what to tell you. It's your fault that your check came out to zero. I pay you what I pay you, and what you do with your money, how you violate your contract, that is on you, my friend. So what I'm hearing, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you neglected your duties as personal security to your one and only client. You failed to protect him, and he was taken hostage by a bunch of ne'er-do-well cannibals on a desert planet. And so you came to me looking for a bailout.
Right.
Right. And you see why I'm unhappy about this. Just to set the baseline.
Yeah, Eugene, to tell you the truth, I couldn't give a fuck whether you're happy or not, considering I got $0 in my last paycheck, and I know you got your reasons, and I think they're fucking stupid, and if you want to argue with me about that, then we can do that.
No, I don't want to argue about shit. I just want to point out to you two facts. All right, Rhodey? All right? I know you're a little here and now, and not all the lights are on upstairs because you turned them all out with booze, but I got two facts for you, bud. Number one, I don't know if you know this, but Candy is your meal ticket. He's the only reason I fucking keep you around. I say you're my second favorite client, but guess what, Rhodey? You and I both know that's not true. All right? So your position as Rhodey and security to Candy is the only reason I cut you a check at all. All right? Without him, you are nothing to me. All right? I don't know where you're going to get your money, but it's not going to be from me. Number 2, I don't know if you know how to fucking read, but I don't think you've ever read your contract in full, all right? You signed a liability waiver for Candy. So if anything's to happen to him, you're endangering my business. And you are to pay me the sum net worth of what I think Candy is worth. So if Candy's not safe, if he's hostaged away on some shithole planet and you can't get him back, I'm so sorry to hear that for Candy, rest in peace, but you're gonna owe me about 5,000 credits.
Let me ask you something, Eugene. I want you to be honest with me.
Yep, always am.
Do you think I'm a good person?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I would agree with you. I'm not a good person. Maybe I was at some point, but that's gone. Now, what's left is somebody with, well, not a whole lot to lose, but I happen to have a pretty short temper, Eugene. So, let me ask you, how wise do you think it is to intimidate or try to intimidate a man with little to lose and a short temper
Rhodey,
right now? You think it's a good idea, Eugene?
I don't have to intimidate you, all right? I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm telling you the facts, all right? You signed a legally binding contract, and if you don't want to fulfill it, then unfortunately, I have grounds not only to sue you, to take you for everything you're worth, which isn't much, you know, to ruin what little salvageable reputation you may or may not have. But ultimately, when you cannot pay this amount, and what it sounds like, you know, if you were to make, if we're on the same page here, also if you're to assault me in the process, Rhodey, you're going to jail for a long time, all right? So, I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm telling you the facts. You can either go get Candy. You can pay me my 5,000 credits. I'll take it in payments since I know you can't afford it in one lump sum. Or, yeah, you can default on your contract. You can hit me as much as you want, but it's gonna end way worse for you than it will for me, all right? I'll take my bruises. I'll take my lumps. I've taken them 100 times before by unhappy clients, but you're gonna rot in a jail cell for 25 fucking years, all right? We're not in the Wild West out here. We live in a society.
Oh, we live in a society, huh? You've seen the memes?
Look, buddy, I don't have time for whatever meme is. I'm doing big business. I'm a big businessman.
All right, Eugene, let me give you an option here, okay? Now, I understand you've taken your lumps from 100 different clients, which doesn't surprise me. So here's my little offer for you. You'll give me the credits I need to go get Candy, or that's it. You go do it yourself.
I'm not going to get Candy. He's worth 5,000 credits at best. I already pay a security guy. If he can't do it, he's defaulted in the contract. And you're gonna owe me way more than Candy probably was gonna make for the rest of his life. So I'll give you an option. I will forget that you were threatening me so, and I will let you out of your contract entirely for the sum of Candy's insurance policy, that 5,000 credits. I will null and void it. Because I don't want anything to do with you anymore, if I'm being honest. You're in more trouble than you're worth. I always gotta, make good with the venue owners after you've been through there, tearing up a fucking storm, breaking everything, being rude to the house staff. You're not worth the trouble. But what you are worth, to me, about 5,000 more credits. That's about as much as I think I can wring out of your old, wrinkly, alcoholic ass. Does that sound fair to you?
Okay, Eugene. I want you to remember this conversation. gonna come back real soon, and Rhodey will get up, and he's gonna leave.
You got 6 months, Rhodey. Otherwise, I'm sending collections after you.
Couple of questions. How populated is this? Like, it's super densely populated, high civilization, yeah?
Yeah, it's 2 million people spread between a handful of very small cities on this planet, like 5 cities. So each city has about, several 100,000 people to say the least, and they're smaller than
How's
like
the
New York.
crime like here?
The crime is solid. Yeah, solid. Not so much. It's like I said, built top down. So the crime happens in the lower portions. There's a lot more police force there, but also a lot more crime. In the top sections, it's pretty above board, but obviously, all it takes is somebody to climb from the bottoms to the top of the city with an elevator, and there you go. Criminals in the upper city.
And we're sort of at the bottom of the city, yeah?
No, you're actually towards the top.
Oh, okay. So we're doing okay. All
Yeah,
right.
you're in a solid part of town.
I have kind of I guess this is somewhat meta. I'll just message it to you instead.
Don't you dare meta in my game, boy.
Yeah, so bad idea is what I'm going to tell you, Rhodey. This is essentially what Eugene's getting at. We live in a society. Rhodey, you live in this is a TL4 city, essentially. There are security cameras and drones and service bots and witnesses essentially everywhere. Dark alley, cool, but you have not only DNA, camera, forensic evidence of all sorts to link you back to any crime you commit in any city, essentially, if it's worth investigating. And murder would be one of those. So it's up to you if you want to try, but you guys have lived in this world for a long time and know that the rules of Saragon 2, where the strongest survive, and if nobody's looking, then you can get away with whatever you want, have gone long out the window, and you are back in the real world where Big Brother is watching every move you make. Think about how hard it is to get away with a murder right now, especially long term. If a detective is like really looking into your case, like he'll probably catch you a couple months down the line. Make that 10 times harder because of like technological advancements and like tracking people down and way enhanced security measure, facial recognition technology, et cetera, et cetera. So just keep that in mind when you guys are planning crimes in general.
Yeah, because I am planning a crime. Okay, maybe I won't commit that particular crime. He didn't have like any of it, like his compad out or anything that I could somehow steal from him, right? Like he didn't have anything.
No, most people have their compads attached to them on their wrists because they're, okay. So his was, on a watch. He had an Apple Watch on, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do this anyway. Rhodey's going to wait outside of the bar, and he's gonna try and follow Eugene back to wherever he lives, or wherever he's staying at, rather.
He's there for another hour or two before he conks out, essentially, closes his tab out, and you see him kind of not really stumble out of the bar, but waddle out of the bar, and he begins to take a couple of phone calls on his way back. He begins mumbling to himself, essentially, while he's on the phone. Like, baby, what did I tell you? No, it's not like that. Well, how do you know you got those from me? Et cetera, et cetera. And you follow him back to a couple blocks away. He is staying at a rundown hotel. And yeah, he's gonna wander in. It's about a 4-story building. It's got like 6 units per floor, sliding electronic doors at the beginning, front desk, concierge, the works. He's gonna, I mean, depending on when you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do, I don't even know what you're trying to do. He's gonna wander into the hotel. The concierge or sort of front staff is gonna be like, "Oh, hello, mister." And he's if I gotta, shrug him off and wander into the elevator, go up to his room, and then go to his room. Presumably, that's what he's gonna do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm more just trying to find out where he is specifically. I'm just following him to learn where he's staying.
Cool.
And,
I think you can essentially follow him up into the elevator, and then you're gonna lose him unless you can think of a clever way to follow him, because you're not gonna be able to tell which floor his elevator is going to. You can't get in the elevator with him, etc. So you can get the hotel,
I'm not gonna follow him inside. I'm not following him inside the building.
Cool,
just
cool.
to see where, like, the hotel he's staying at. Rhodey considers, committing a crime. And, as he's kind of standing there watching, Eugene, realizing that he probably at any point could shoot him with his telekinetic rifle and kill Eugene. And, in theory, maybe get away with it because, like, he's doesn't have a visible gun or anything. He instead doesn't decide to do it. But he considers it, and he kind of watches him, and will maybe. Yeah, I mean, he was considering killing Eugene after that conversation, and he's sort of realizing that.
Considering killing Eugene.
But he's sort of realizing that, that the events, like him crash landing on his planet, watching Candy die, suddenly going into this survival mode has kind of fucked him up, and maybe made him maybe tap into some parts of him that he doesn't really like, the parts of him that Rose would hate. And I think he's starting to struggle with that a little bit. So he doesn't do anything, doesn't try to kill him, and instead will walk back to the hotel that Weevil got.
Yeah. For what it's worth as well, just something you mentioned in there, and it's like a world building thing that I want to again drive home. There's essentially, the detectives of this world, there's psyops divisions that will be able to essentially tell, oh yeah, this man was killed with telekinetic bullets, and we can use precognitive abilities and postcognitive abilities to essentially help trace these people down, even if we don't have security footage of them pulling a gun out and blowing somebody's brains out. So
that's a Rhodey brain bullet.
Right, yeah. And I could also, in theory, if I really wanted to go dark with this right now, I could try and get an eye on him in his room, have him have something hit him really hard over the head, in the room, and essentially use something to try and beat him to death. I could try and figure out something really hard.
But and again, to drive home how hard it is to just commit crime, murder in a city and stuff like that, just to the society has a lot of ways to discourage murder hoboism. There's a reason a lot of your telekinetic powers say that you can't use something that a person is wearing or carrying or something like that. You can't boil somebody's blood just by looking at them. You can't rip a telekinetic gun out of somebody's hand, or you can't rip a gun out of somebody's hand with telekinesis potentially because they're carrying it.
Right.
And it's because people have innate sort of auras and life signatures that your psionics are sort of interrupted by. And those would kind of carry through to objects you manipulate as well. There might be essentially, in D&D terms, trace senses of magic on a lamp that you use to bash somebody's head in that a psychic with enough meta psionics would be able to detect. So, that's not even a foolproof plan. You know what I mean? Just to, again, drive the point.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Also, just the idea of Rhodey beating Eugene to death with something heavy enough that he brings in his room is just Eugene lands on his bed and he's like, ah. fucking great day. I just get to sit here and observe my beautiful lucky anvil that I bring with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Or just like the lamp in his room starts killing him, and Rhodey is a full city block away. Just like, miming and beating him to death.
Yeah. I would go to the adjacent room and, I would do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be within, viewing distance. So yeah, so you're like on a roof with binoculars. Weevil, I need you to come with me. I need your binoculars.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spy on a man.
I do not have binoculars.
I'm not doing anything right now, but I may visit this later. And if he happens to, if we run into each other on a planet that maybe doesn't have certain rules, he may find himself in trouble.
Yeah, he's given you a time limit, and he's going to send collections after you, which, for what it's worth as well, money being it makes the, not world go round, but the entire sector go round. Collections are nothing to fuck with in this world. Like, if you have a debt and do not pay it, and somebody goes to the trouble to send a collection agency after you, they are essentially like a SEAL Team 6 murder hit squad. They're like, he doesn't have the money, he's not been paying up, we're going to cut him open and take his liver, and we're going to sell that for the money, and that's how we're going to get the payment back. Like, they are like a no-holds-barred, fucked up, hyper-capitalist, get the money no matter what way possible kind of situation. So, like, and that goes in general for like any sort of collections agency in this world.
Sure.
Cool. So Rhodey heads back to the motel. We got, Janko staying at the motel. Weevil landlording, maintenance manning, rather.
Weevil realizes that he's not as good of a carpenter as he thought. So at one point, he takes a piece of 8.5 by 11 printer paper and puts it on the wall and then paints over it. And he's like, yes, thanks. It's just cockroaches.
Yeah, I was gonna say he paints a cockroach to the wall. So we have 3 of 4 of the party members staying at the motel, and Collie essentially having his own motel, or his own nicer hotel room. But you were, Collie, if you can mistake me, you were essentially kind of waiting and maybe gonna go talk to the rest of these refugees that you were stranded with for maybe some assistance in your endeavor, or?
Yeah, I think there would be a bit of guilt from Collie because he didn't fully feel right about ditching everybody, but it's like, hey dude, priorities are priorities. Like, it's like, hey, you could save this planet of smelly radioactive people, or you could go and find your mother who you lost
You're a hot
a week ago.
Yeah.
So
what's funny is Collie's mom is actually smelly and radioactive as well.
What? But I think my game plan would be like, stake out at the apartment, look out the window, see if I can see Joseph going in or out of the place. Eventually, I think I would. I think Collie would remember when the trip was supposed to end and all the people were supposed to be back. So I think by that point, I'd probably head back near where we originally landed and check to see if I could find the dudes to apologize, reconnect, ask how it's going, what their game plan is, etc.
I think I'm going to ask Collie for you to subtract 50 credits from your character sheet for hotel and food costs. Just over the next 8 days that you have been staking this place out and waiting for the rest of the party to filter in. And Janko and Rhodey for you to subtract about 15 apiece as well, because your board's kind of been paid for by Weevil's service. But you still need food and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah.
So I have 0.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take 13, and you didn't eat dinner one day.
Yeah.
Rhodey is surviving on cup noodles.
Yeah, he had sleep for dinner.
Yeah, I do have some rations still. Maybe I'll just snack on those.
Yep. I would like to send a message in this 8-day span when we eventually get to me.
Yeah, so we're gonna catch up here with essentially Sarah and Kit's landing. So they'll be available, but they're otherwise gonna go fuck off and do their own thing. Now that they are not stranded with you. Kits is gonna go try and get his job back at Bucko's, and Sarah has God knows what business on Saragon 3.
I would like to.
And in the meantime, the rest of the party. Yeah, so the rest of the party is going to be able to reconvene at the motel and share information about what they're doing and talking about. As 3 of you are staying there, and Collie's going to come back just to at least catch up with you guys, so we can pick up there. It is the morning of Sarah and Kiz's arrival. Let's say they're on the last group, essentially. It's been 16-20 days since Collie and Weevil got on Saragon 3. You guys have your news, you guys have your leads on your personal things and your so-and-sos. Collie, you got just a few days before Joseph is set to leave the planet, according to that initial email you read. Yeah. You guys, Collie, you head over in the morning, and the rest of you guys essentially are able to link up.
Yeah, add me on Space, LinkedIn. So, yeah, we will, well, I guess, like, maybe we're in one of the rooms or hanging out in a side lobby as Weevil is, like, simultaneously on the computer, like, surfing the web, because he has been just kind of obsessively scouring, like, Amazon and eBay, whatever the equivalent of the online commerce sections of this planet are. And he's got like dozens of tabs bookmarked on his compad in his search for something very specific. And he turns to the group and he goes,
I trust that the past 16 days have been kind to you, as I have not been getting any more irradiated, and I am very grateful to be off of that shit pile.
This is for me, right?
For everybody. You guys are all together.
Oh, okay, word. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, dude. Like, I've been kind of kicking back. I found what I needed to, and I guess I've just been kind of Collie like scratches the back of his head and like twists his foot in the dirt because like kind of, I guess, waiting for you guys. I felt a little bad, but bro's got to do what a bro's got to do. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. I have been working my ass off, and the least you could do is say thank you.
But like, you don't really.
Yeah,
you don't really have an ass, Weevil.
That is my line, you son of a bitch.
Has Zeke landed on this planet yet?
Yeah, so this morning, Weevil went and picked up, I didn't pick up anybody, but he escorted the last of the refugees to the motel, including Zeke, Simon, Sarah, and Kit. So he took Sarah and Kit's. Meanwhile, Simon and Zeke apparently, and Sparky, probably went off to a nearby jail for Simon to get those boys incarcerated.
Okay. I wanna go see Zeke at some point. It doesn't have to be right now. I just wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, you guys are all together as a party now, so if you want to split back up later, you can, but I'm just putting you all together so you guys can, as a group, decide what to do next. And
yeah, so Weevil will pause from his work, because I'm assuming this is like the last or the second to last day before he's
you got like 2-3 days left. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So just given the ship pile is enough time to get temp jobs or whatever, so they have money to support themselves, and he is mopping or sweeping or doing some manual labor task of cleaning. He's turning the sheets as Jenko is in them, and he is just not paying attention to the task whatsoever as he goes.
I believe that all of us are in need of funds, and I have some ideas of ways to procure that. I know that I have someone waiting for me off-world that I promised to send money back to, and based on the context, I've been able to identify that we are all somewhat lacking in monetary means. Am I correct?
I'm not actually broke.
That is true. You are wearing the newest Air Jordans.
I feel like it's just Rhodey that's broke. No offense, Rhodey.
I mean, Jenko, Jenko, you did not get paid for the job you just did for fucking 2 months, and you know that your family is wasting away, in poverty back home.
That's true.
Jenko's like, actually, fuck. Now that I'm back in society, I remember we have to make money to pay for things.
I should probably go, honestly, send my usual, weekly or monthly deposit. I forgot about that.
I have also been slacking. I need to send a message as well. However, the idea that I had is related to the news blast that we all must have received when we re-entered atmosphere. It seems that the city of,
Now refresh my memory. I missed that bit in the broadcast. Was it
Junis.
Polis? Oh,
You guys are in
Junis.
Polis
Okay, so
now.
gotcha. So Junis has been having.
the nearby city of Junis has been having electrical surges for the near future, and they are searching for technologically inclined individuals such as myself and Mr. Jaco to aid in the city's problem. I believe that may be a good way to gain money. There's also a matter of the problem with the hallucinogenic drug on the streets of the cities of this planet, and if we are able to find any form of lead on it, we will get a fairly sizable bundle of credits. I do not know what all of your long-term plans are, but I do not intend to languish on Saragon 3 for longer than needed.
What was the reward amount for the drug info? For the
500
psychedelic thing?
if you turn in like a drug dealer, or give like a prominent, like a useful tip. You can't just go in and be like, yeah, I've heard there's drugs on this corner, and then get 500 and skip down. They will verify it assuredly. But you could also that's you can get more than 500 if you keep turning in drug dealers.
Might be a fun hobby.
So, yeah, I mean, fucking Cowboy Bebop, am I right?
Like, what if we all pretend to be the drug dealers and then turn each other in and then, like, escape and do it in a sort of, like, circle and make a lot of money?
Like, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard, dude.
Yeah.
You can escape first.
Yes, I say we commend you to custody before anyone else.
Yeah, this ain't no Saragon 2 jail you'd be breaking out of.
I can do it.
It also occurs, I mean,
Man.
I don't want to give alternative whatever solutions, but it occurs to Kali that, if my poor friends need money, like, fucking, he's got a lot of money, Joseph Godwater. Yeah, I'm sure he has some valuable shit in a villa.
Hey guys,
And
you know who has, like, a
it-
lot of money? Joseph Godwater.
It also occurs to Rhodey that, yeah, Eugene's probably flush with cash, so maybe you could just kill him and steal all of his stuff.
What do you mean, the Joseph Godwater who is building a mega factory?
Hey, I got a guy that we can kill if you wanna.
Yeah, so, like, I found Joseph's villa on the edge of town, and apparently he's, like, building a factory or something 50 miles due north. That's actually kind of what I was doing this whole time. I do have a place that I've been staying at. You guys could totally crash.
I have been working.
For freezies?
Hey, Weevil, I don't mean to be a dick, but, like, we get it.
Oh, dude, you get it. I know. I am mopping. Well, can you at least move your feet, please?
Like, sorry, man.
Yeah, he's got his fucking nasty ass flip flopped feet on the clean tile floor, and Weevil is like, God damn it. Weevil kind of shakes his head as he's mopping and gets under Kali's feet and goes,
I would prefer to keep any work that we do as a group above board. I am working to procure a means of transport, but that is all I am willing to say at this time.
Like, what do you need the transport for? You should probably say more at this time.
To get to other cities, like the one that I suggested we go to. Eunice is several hundred miles away. However, it would be possible to do it quickly.
I mean, there probably is, like, public transport between the cities. Probably cheaper than getting a car right now.
Hold on. Kali's a wanderer, a level 2 wanderer, actually, so with enough time, I can find... Hold on, I'll just read this. So, gain survive as a bonus skill. You convey basic ideas in common languages of the sector. You can always find free transport to a desired destination for yourself and a small group of friends, provided any traffic goes to that place. Finding this transport takes no more than an hour, but it may not be a strictly legitimate means of travel. And I can also forge, scrounge, or snag travel papers and identification for a party with 1d6 hours of work. So with enough time, I could find us a way to get there.
Also,
I am hoping for a more permanent travel solution.
True, but we're kind of broke right now, so that might come later. But also I'm also level 1 wanderer, so I can probably help Collie with that issue. Give him an assist, maybe cut the time.
Damn, you guys are both vehicle boys.
Yeah,
You could just
we don't
your
want to get
expertise and
lost.
just scam someone out of the actual fucking title of their car.
Does Gene have a car?
Steal his car. I would just kind of like ask to hitch a ride, maybe like hop in the trunk when he's not looking or something.
I think it's a matter of finding a vehicle that's going the direction we want and being able to sneak onto it.
Well, yeah, with enough like I could chat them up. It can't be too hard. If they've got extra space, we could just throw them a couple bucks.
Oh, all right. You have prized it out of me. I am hoping to negotiate with Sheriff Simon for ownership of the ore miner. That would solve multiple problems at once and allow us a interplanetary capable vessel.
I mean, shouldn't we own it anyway because we took it from the fuel makers, built it mostly fairly, stealing one part. Like, it's basically ours.
Do you think he noticed that I like totally ditched?
Oh, he 100% noticed. That was all that Billy could talk about in between curses about how you have left.
Oh.
I believe it is best if I spearhead the negotiations.
Yeah, well, like, my bad, man.
Yes, it was your bad.
No, it's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do. Don't let the tin can make you feel bad.
Honestly,
Don't let dog food give you a moral support.
All right.
Coming this fall to NBC, 7 p.m., 8 Central. Tin Can and the Dog Food. A buddy cop extravaganza. I'm calling it now, folks.
Coming at you live from 102.7 Tin Can and the Dog Food.
Wednesday. To get dog food.
Yeah, sorry, Michael, I cut you off too with the stupid joke. But
So you're fine. So what are we just gonna go surround Billy and be like, "Hey, give us our vehicle that is not yours."
No, Weevil basically said, "Hey, like he'll tell you what happened." He basically says when Billy first took off, he told Billy to say, "Hey, tell the sheriff that Weevil is interested in negotiating ownership of the ore miner, and in a gesture of good faith, Weevil is going to secure lodging for the shit pile refugees as they come in." And that's what part of what this has all been about, is the idea of like making Simon a little more sympathetic to us, considering we kind of stole a bunch of parts, or were complicit in the theft of a bunch of parts, and this whole evacuation was. I'm sure it's been on his mind that it also wasn't our original intention to take everyone from ship pile with us. So, I mean, I think we shouldn't take it for granted the fact that we'll be gifted the ore miner, considering that we're not hostile with them, but we were doing it as essentially a plea deal.
You could always just like take it.
Nah.
Yes, but we are no longer in a cowboy society. Also, wrong voice filter.
We are no longer in a cowboy society.
Yeah, Weevil, your voice sounded funny right there.
Sounds like Kylie might be periodically.
What was it?
You sounded like you're from Minnesota. Oh yeah, your voice sounded funny there. Oh.
I'm like having trouble pinning down voice theory.
Oh yes, sirree. I'm gonna go fucking get that ore miner. But yeah, Weevil.
What do you guys?
Yeah, Weevil says just let me do the negotiation. And he'll talk to Simon. Hopefully get the ore miner, and if that doesn't work out, we can pursue the other leads. But also, Weevil is thinking more long term of, hey, now we have a vehicle. I could fucking sell it if I wanted.
But
so
like,
that's
Simon loves me, man. I'm law abiding.
Yes, that is true, Bahama Mama.
And Weevil, Weevil straightens a photograph on the wall of a nondescript sunset. But yeah, he essentially, we're at a crossroads here. We can decide what we want to do, I guess. Do we want to pursue individual leads? Do we want to go after making money first? One thing, too, from the meta side of things is that I know Junis is also the place that Jenko found might have some smuggling leads. So just throwing that out there. Weevil doesn't say that, but it's just worth mentioning because there's been a lot of information. as well as the fact that, I mean, hey, it is important to note that Kali's points of interest are still in Polis. So, you know, maybe we don't leave right away because of that. But Weevil wants to earn some money. He's also got to send some messages, and he's almost completely free. So, you know, I've said my 2 cents. I think Judas is a good way to get money above board, use our skills. Maybe we can get some of that sweet DPW money, just by trying to figure out the cause of the power surges, or we could go into bounty heads and druggy wrangling. But Weevil's suggestion is he'd like to try and make money through legitimate means, if possible.
Yeah, okay, I feel like my 2 cents is right here, right now. Goal 1, try to get a hold of the ship that we've been using. If we can, then that solves our transportation problem. However, if we can't, we could get a vehicle or at least make some money legitimately here if you want to probably make a little bit of money, but you could make a lot of money if you go to Junis and maybe do something illegal. But it's a big risk. It's 200 miles away and it's kind of seedy. But this factory, this Godwater factory, it's like 50 miles north of us. What are they making in this factory? Like, is it manufacturing what?
Refining Dawn's gleams. They're taking essentially this raw material pulled from the core of distant planets and refining it into this luxury product, which is essentially prismatic glass that when you touch it makes you come or makes you euphoric, or it essentially makes you feel intense emotions as you touch it. And it's like used by hyper rich people. So they like refine it into like a usable state and then also sculpt it into chandeliers and sconces and statues that they're eventually going to ship off world and sell to rich people. So like, yeah, I mean, it's a massive mega factory that's still being built. So it's not in production yet. But like, I mean, hypothetically, you could rob a factory, I suppose. I mean, all of these are like...
Hypothetically, what if... Do you think it would be useful to temporarily get a job constructing the factory to learn about the factory and maybe learn about Godwater as an employee building his next, structure that's housing his operation? Do you think that might be useful, or is that going to be a waste of time?
It's actually a pretty cool suggestion.
Just think about it. Like, what if he's building a basement somewhere? And, like,
what I will say is Kali knows he has, 2-3 days before, based on an email he read months ago, Kali has 2-3 days, if he checks his calendar, before Joseph Godwater, who has been overseeing the production or the construction of this construction of this factory, is going to vacate his villa and move to a new location. Which may or may not be good or bad news based on how Nick interprets that. But that's a limited amount of time before he potentially fucks off the planet. His plans also might have changed in the 2 months since Nick has read that letter. So there's a lot of what ifs, ands, or buts. But if you wanted to do deep scouts and get jobs and be, inside plants, not a bad idea, but would not coincide with that other tighter time deadline.
All right, it sounds like we can't do this like sleeper cell shit. So in this 2-day time span, we could probably do some recon and try to learn more about Joseph's movement, where he's going to be if he's changing his plans. Just so that Kali can not feel like he lost that thread,
Yeah, like I really gotta pay attention to this, man. I can't really miss this. It's why I ditched,
Yeah, and in the meantime, I mean, Kali, we glimpsed over it just to get through all the other narration of everybody else, but you have spent several days watching the hotel and Godwater's goings on. Essentially, he in the morning will wake up and go for a very early morning jog around the upper outer city, where it's like the nicest and kind of like they have faux trees growing and stuff like that. And then he essentially comes back home, does fucks around inside, probably does who knows what. He leaves a few hours later and goes, it seems like, to the factory for the majority of the day. He's overseeing the construction of that. And he'll come back later in the evening, and then you see that most nights that you've been watching him, let's say you've been watching him for about 5 nights now, 3 out of 5 of those nights, he's then gone out again. A car has come to pick him up, and he's gone to an I don't know, tertiary location and come back late at night within the same car that has picked him up.
Have I noticed? You said he's gone out in multiple days. Has the car that's picked him up, has it been the same car?
Yeah, it's always like a black SUV essentially. It's a black Nova Core Grav car, or not Nova Core, but it's a black. Sorry. Let me just redact. It is a black. What's the word I'm looking for? Aurora.
Aurora, maybe.
Yeah, Aurora. Which is just it's a black fucking Escalade essentially.
Have I been able to take note of, I don't know, if cars in this world have like license plates?
Yeah, sure. It's got like a VIN number. It's definitely got everything. So many things in this world will have VIN, serial numbers, IDs on them, scannable QR codes and barcodes. So yeah, cars definitely still do. And it's the same one. So you're able to essentially jot that down or take a fucking picture of it on your phone.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. You mean on my compad?
Yeah. So you have that.
Okay.
And this is the fun thing that we're now branching out into now that you guys aren't stranded on Desert Planet and have access to Reddit, the internet. You, with a picture of, let's say, a license plate, you could essentially use an online database accessible to public citizens probably to try and research who this car belongs to, essentially, if you wanted to do that. So, like, don't be afraid to think outside the box on weird shit like that. Think about what's accessible because this is what I was trying to dissuade when I was talking to Dylan about, like, hey, maybe try not to murder this guy right now because you're going to force my hand potentially if you fuck this up. I'm going to have to really derail the campaign and have Rhodey seriously arrested. And that is to dissuade the idea of, like, D&D mentality of, like, yeah, if nobody's looking, you can probably just murder somebody and roll a charisma check and get away with it because nobody saw it. You can convince them somebody else did it, and you can get away with way more shit. But that part is limited. The outlaw part you have to either be really clever about, or you have to really stumble upon an opportune time, or go to a desert planet where there's not a lot of people, etc., etc. But the benefit is you have the internet. So if Nick IRL wanted to track down somebody who drove by him, he potentially could do that with fucking Spectrum internet and a home computer.
Yeah, that would be really great if I could try and track down whoever the driver is of this car, or like where that car is usually parked, et cetera, where it goes.
Yeah, and what I'll give you that
you do this on the hotel's old 1998 jewel case Macintosh in the lobby.
Weevil has fucking overclocked into a monster of a super processor. Yeah, Nick, why don't you give me a program int check?
Program int? Colley's great at that.
To research this fool on the internet.
I'm like breaking in.
It's a DC. I think I'm technically supposed to tell you guys the DCs before these things happen, so it's a DC 6. It's low.
Can I expert that, please?
Yeah, you fail, so if you want, you can expert it. Hey, you just made it.
Nice.
So you get the information that's available. Unfortunately, it's not the information you wanted. There is not a lot of information on this car. It takes you a while to track it down, and you realize the reason it does is because it belongs to a local private security company or a local private sort of like security service, rather. It's not like strict like armored cars security, but they offer like drivers and stuff like that, like almost like a limousine. It's like a limousine service for the rich and powerful, essentially. So there's a little bit more security behind it than just renting a limo for prom. The name of the service is Sandstone LLC, and you can easily then research the company a little bit. It seems to be, it's about 50 years old. You get a couple of office locations as well as their HQ dotted around several cities, with their HQ here in Polis. You can get an address for that, so you can go there if you would like to. You get the name of the CEO. It's Georgios Gavris. Yeah, he's a Greek man. And you get some tertiary information about the company, how many cars they have to, supposedly have in their fleet, and other information. If you would like it, you can ask me questions, but you get obviously stuff that's on their company website and stuff like that as well.
Are these cars? I know this is like a very classy, secured security service. Are these cars themselves equipped with defenses?
They brag about reinforced doors and bulletproof windows, but it doesn't seem like the cars are like, they don't seem to have like turrets attached to them and shit like that.
It's not a war dog.
Yeah, so it's a standard grav car, but it's been reinforced for protection in case like something should happen, a crash, somebody tries to do a drive-by on it. So yeah.
Okay. I need to brainstorm. I don't really know if there's much I can do with that.
Yep. So that's the information you get. In the meantime, I know there was some other talks about what the rest of the party was kind of going to investigate.
Yeah, I want to slightly retcon and say Weevil would have sent off a message to Jeeves the second he could have, and it basically just says, "I'm okay. Here's,
Yeah, so this is
I'm good, blah blah blah."
So this is where the cost comes in, unfortunately. If you guys look at the NDHC handout, I think I have rates on there. But essentially,
I saw that earlier.
it's 2 credits per spike drive needed to get the message to the desired destination. So if you want to send a video or audio or otherwise text message, that's going to be 2 credits per jump. So if you want to go back to Rayleigh 2 from Saragon, it's going to be 2, 4, 6 credits to send Jeeves a message.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I have not spent a dime since I got here, so it's basically just says it's an abridged recap of everything. Weevil apologizes for not sending a message sooner, and tells Jeeves, "I hope your pacemaker is still going at the regular rate." And basically tells him he is continuing the search for the Magellan. What happened to it?
Yeah.
And yeah. So I will mark that off.
So you can send that to him, and it'll contain as much audio essentially as you want, or video if you want.
Make it video, why the hell not? And then also
I like to imagine there's like a beginning a section in the beginning of the I know this isn't technically how Weevil works, but this is a funny image. Weevil's setting up the camera, and he walks away from the camera and then turns around and sits down in the hotel bed, and you see he doesn't have his head on because his head's actually the camera.
Oh man, I wish I like the idea that Weevil has like a high quality 4K camera in his chest and like a cell phone shitty like 2 megapixel camera in his head. Dude, that's fucking funny though. I love that. But yeah, no, it's if anything, it's like a VTuber of Weevil. Which is like he filmed an empty room and then like put like a render of himself in front of it, and Jeeves is like, "How the hell did you do that, kid?"
Yeah. So you can send Jeeves your life update for sure, no problem.
Yeah, and other than that, I want to have been looking for any sign of Kleck. Any ramblings, maybe, see if he looks like he's above board, if he's some form of black market dealer, or if I can find anything related to him.
Yeah, why don't you give me a connect wisdom? No, connect charisma is what I'm going to ask for initially.
Cool.
A CC check.
So, could I argue for Connect Int only because he's specifically searching for internet links and any kind of information on forums or anything like that?
Yeah, since you're not doing it in person, I'll take that.
Cool,
It's gonna be DC 8.
Let's see, that was a 5. I'm gonna use my expert to reroll that.
Okay.
2, baby.
You're not able to find much aside from you. I'll give you the 5, because we'll take the higher of the 2. Your best bet, based on what you've heard from Janko, you've read, and rather listened to on the audio log of Guillermo, who mentions like a dealer that stumbled upon some high-tech shit that maybe he wasn't supposed to have, and the general goings-ons of the planet that you do through your online research. If you want to find Kleck, it seems to be well hidden, and he may not be in Polis, he might be in Junis.
Okay, so yeah, another reason Weevil will try and push us for Polis.
You mean Junis?
Junis, yeah, sorry. And then, point of order, when he gets the chance, he would like to go find Simon after we've all dealt with our shit, and he can talk to him about the ore miner.
Yeah, I guess, how do you plan on finding Simon?
I mean, you mentioned he had brought, assuming Billy is probably hanging out by the docks on the last thing, Weevil will collect Kits and Sarah, tell them the plan, say like, hey, I have a hotel if you guys want it, otherwise, sayonara, have a good life, here's my phone number, and let them do their own thing, but he'll find Billy, get in touch with him, ask about Simon.
Yeah, so you exchange information with Billy, Kit and Sarah. You get their contact info. Kit says like, yeah, I don't really know what I can do for you, but if you're ever at Bucko's, I can maybe get you an employee discount when when the GM isn't looking. And meanwhile, Sarah's like, yeah. General manager. Meanwhile, Sarah's like, yeah, I don't really think we'll, travel a lot in the future unless you're paying. I guess if you need a hired gun, let me know. Mercenary work's my trade. But it's been real. Thanks for, you're a robot. I'd say thanks for not eating me on Cannibal Planet, but, yeah, it's been real.
Yep.
He walks over to Billy.
He will write tags in her yearbook. Have a good summer.
You head over to Billy, and he's like, yeah, Simon said he was taking him to Precinct 97 if you wanted to go find him, but is this about the boat here?
Yes, this is about the boat.
Right. So, and Billy kind of puts a cigarette on the heel of his shoe. Problem with that, yeah. So I kind of forgot to talk to Simon about that. Yeah, dude. And I think like somewhere in there, I may or may not have registered this in my name. So, yeah, unfortunately, this is, technically, legally, my ship.
You son of a bitch.
Now, you don't know my mama, and you don't know me, so I think twice about insulting the man that drove you off that hellscape and rescued all these kind people who owed dear Billy Strang $1.50 bucket worth of favors. And he takes a step forward to you at this point, and he goes, and I think another thing about insulting the man whose livelihood you just fucking bankrupt. You know how much of a killing I was making off of those fucking...
Oh, wait. As soon as he said that, Weevil's recorder starts.
Yeah, those
Right. Are we all there, or is this just Weevil and Billy?
I don't know. Nobody else has been saying anything.
Weevil only wanted to talk to Simon, so he would have set out to go talk to him about getting the ore miner, assuming that Billy would have been on the level and talked to him about it. But yeah, so I think it's just Weevil for now, but if you guys want to be there, you're more than welcome, but Weevil was specifically trying to negotiate ownership for himself of the boat. So I'll just leave it at that. But he wouldn't be like super secretive about it with y'all.
Well, yeah, just because like if this is something that's just between you guys, then it doesn't really make sense for Rhodey to be like, oh, and I heard that, you know.
Cool.
So,
Okay. Cool. So then it's just Weevil in this case.
Yeah. He goes, something... Anyway, so he takes a step closer to you. Fucking tension sucked out of the scene. Thanks, boys. But he takes a step closer to you, and he goes, the man's livelihood that you just ruined. Do you know how those dirt rollers depended on me as the only pilot in town with the only ship that only sat one person to run supplies back and forth? Now they're all off the I was living good on Saragon too. Now I'm just another fucking schmuck who knows how to fly a boat. Doesn't do me much good. So, you know, I figured it only fair that I, you know, get something out of it. I'm sure you understand, though.
I'm aware of the principle of economic gain. However, that does not nullify my previous statement. In fact, I'd say it doubles it. Now, I believe if you wanted to return to Saragon 2 because life was so good there for you before, you are more than welcome to do so. Have a nice life.
No, you ruined that. You saw to that. Fit and fiddle. It's, ain't nobody there, ain't nothing for me, so I'm gonna take my new boat that, you know, has some cargo capacity at least and try and make a living off of that the best I can. I mean, now that my situation's been squandered, stepped on, ruined, eviscerated by the likes of a tin can and his drunken buffoon friends.
Man, like, you've really sucked from the start, haven't you?
Oh my god, when did you get here?
Oh, was that not bad? My bad. I think that.
What I'm talking about, like, I feel like some people are just not paying attention.
Weevil just kind of continually looms over, it's fucking Billy, and, he says that thing about, you fucking doubling down on his son of a bitch comment, and, encouraging him to go back, and he just says,
I understand now why the outside world is such a cutthroat place. If assholes like you are the ones responsible for trying to make good on making money off of normal people. Take care, you absolute horrendous human being.
and Weevil turns around and walks away. He's not even fucking dealing with him, but he has recording. And he stops recording, and he's still gonna try and go find Simon, just to tell him, hey, your pilot's a fucking asshole. Our business is probably done, but take care.
Yeah, Billy calls out to you, of course, because he's an asshole. He's like, and if you ever need a ride off world somewhere, I'm starting a new taxi service. Don't be afraid to give me a holler.
Weevil just goes, ah! And keeps walking. Doesn't even turn around.
You're able to. He gave you the precinct that Simon was apparently at, and you're able to track him down. He's still negotiating for like I brought these two strangers in, and I promised they're criminals. So he's still essentially working on getting them into custody. He's making good progress, though, as a sort of a lawman authority. And you're able to shortly share the information with him. And Simon is fucking livid. He looks at you, and he's like, "You're telling me that motherfucker could have gotten us off this planet this entire time, and he just wasn't trying because he liked his position, his..." God, if I weren't a man of the law, I would break that boy's neck.
I was this close
To doing,
to doing that myself.
and Weevil shows like a pinched finger. And he says,
Tells, I do not bring this to you with any particular goal in mind. However, I just thought it was worth bringing to your attention. It has been a pleasure, Sheriff Simon, and I wish you well.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same, but it's been pretty unpleasant this entire time.
That is true. I was merely a euphemism. However, I do wish you well.
Yeah. Best of luck, Tin Can. Say hello to dog food for me.
Tin
So
can
glad-
and dog
so-
food.
So glad that stuck.
Say hello to Tin Can, or say hello to dog food and Bahama Mama for me.
Don't forget my rat.
Yeah, Simon is displeased, but unfortunately has no advice or recourse either.
No, it's just Weevil feels a small, minute amount of satisfaction from having destroyed Billy's character in Simon's eyes.
Yeah, you know that the shit pilers are not going to look fondly on that dude.
Cool.
Maybe someone else will
yeah.
kill him.
Yeah.
I think I like Zeke better
go for
than
it.
Billy at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Zeke just really wanted to
Yeah.
fucking get off that planet.
Yeah,
He sucked,
I
but he's
get it.
not, putting 100 people in or 30 people in Radiationville. Suck.
So there you go. Assuming Weevil goes back to the motel, again, the entire party would be together again at this point. Because, yeah. I mean, you guys
So
are
Weevil,
in a city. You guys have a lot of options. You guys each have things you want to do. I mean,
yeah, Weevil, tells them what happened, and he says, "All right, we're out of fucking options. If we want to get to Junus, we have to leave Collie's goals behind. Collie needs to decide that for himself, what he wants to do with that. And we'll be here in the meantime. But Weevil's wallet is slowly draining, and he wants to fill it up.
I mean, like, we could totally pick up some odd jobs here and there. I know I've got a decent stack to cover the room if we're all willing to just, like, sleep on the floor,
I do not need to sleep, but that sounds amenable to me. I think we need to determine what we would be doing here in Polis, though.
I mean, well, my question is, why are we just letting Billy take the ship? I mean, there's 4 of us, 1 of him. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yes, but according to him, it is legally registered in his name. There are, as a camera and recording device myself, there are many such things throughout the city. I believe it would be unwise if we were to try and accost him.
Also, even if we got it, the police would just find us. They'd track the vehicle, and
I think maybe you guys are misunderstanding. I more meant fight against it being registered in his name and maybe using like Simon in order to help us get it under ours or one of ours. Although if you wanted to beat the shit out of him, we could have him taxi us to Saragon too and just beat the shit out of him there and leave him on the planet. I wouldn't be opposed to that as well.
Are you telling me that I thought of beating beating Billy to a pulp independently, and that was not insinuated with your messages? I have been around you for too long.
I think so, because there's another guy I wanted to beat the shit out of and or kill, but not, I mean, Billy, yes, but I was more talking about getting the ownership of the ore miner than I was beating him up. I don't blame you for making that assumption. I don't blame any of you for assuming that my first thought was to kill the man.
Yeah,
I believe it would... I am not in any particular rush, but I believe that we would be barking up the wrong tree if we attempted to ask Simon to help us. I am sure he is happy to wash his hands of us after this whole unpleasantness with the stolen parts.
I think I know. I think I have a plan. If you really want to get this vehicle back, we could threaten to release the recording you took onto like a public forum or like a fucking video audio billboard and put his name on it and just besmirch his whole last name.
A billboard, but I'm gonna be honest, although I like the idea, I don't think it'll do anything. I don't think he'll care. I think he'll just say, "Oh, that's not me. That's somebody else. I'm flying my ship. Goodbye." You know, I don't.
Deep fakes.
Yeah, he'll say it's a deep fake, just like God said. Who was that?
I mean, it's not really the most luxurious of vehicles. We could always attempt to buy it back from him. Like, if we were to just pull some odd jobs or petty crime or something. I do know a cool house that we could stack.
I want to point out.
$20,000.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, just as a side note, from a meta DM aspect, this, in its current state, this thing can get you from Saragon 2 to Saragon 3 back and forth. Saragon 1's a gas planet, so you can't land on it. You can only just, like, if you had a fuel scooper, you could drive by it and refuel on the go. You can't land on it. This thing can only get you to where you've already been and where you are currently now. Or you could zip around. I guess you could fly around on Saragon 3 if you really wanted. So it can't get you anywhere long term anyway. Just as a heads up. It's a valuable piece of equipment. Like, this shit probably costs, like, in its refurbished state. I mean, as is now, it's heavily damaged. You guys use psionics to, like, weld it shut. It's not, you know. For, like, a new strike fighter is what, like 50K? So this thing is probably worth about, like, you know, 30 to 40K to the right buyer. So, like, it's nothing to sneeze at, but it's also, like, not a solution to get you around the galaxy. So
Yeah,
just a heads up. It costs 200K, so this shit probably costs. This shit's probably worth about half of that at this current stage.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about in terms of like us getting some money, or at least having a means of like travel planets, like even just planet side very quickly. If not, you know, like doing something to Saragon 2 or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's ours, and like that's a valuable resource, and Rhodey has literally zero credits.
Yeah.
I agree with Rhodey. I agree. I think we should get it back somehow. Like, it's bullshit. And I still think you could deepfakes regardless. You could probably blackmail this dude.
Maybe we could find some sort of like underground paint shop or something that could, if we were able to steal it, we could disguise it and like change the registry or something so that cops couldn't find it. There's got to be something around this city.
I feel like there are only a limited number of construction vehicles flying around Polis.
Scrape off the serial numbers on all your guns too while you're at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably exists.
I mean, that's not a bad suggestion.
In Judas could probably hook you up with that.
Yeah, the problem is getting there. I mean, if I'm honest, I think the idea of having potentially 100K credits that we could get if we were to sell this thing to the right person, not bad, because that is mostly the same reason I was looking for it, to be able to kind of pursue short-term goals of getting city to city, and also put us a bit closer towards the eventual goal of getting a ship in the future. But that being said, Weevil is not really on board with the idea of trying to steal it. If we were to, like, you know, the besmirching his name, not a terrible idea, but, you know, he at the end of the day, he could easily just take it and be like, hey, I'm fucking working for a construction crew or something. This car is way more valuable to me than you could ever pay for it, even if you drag my name through the mud. I can still be a taxi service in some part of this world, you know? Like, I don't really see a situation where we can convince him to part with it, especially after he's convinced we've ruined his livelihood. And I don't like the idea of trying to sneak on and take it or you know, hustle it.
And for meta reference, let me also paint, because I think Dylan, this might be what you were about to get into, but you had, I think, mentioned it previously. In terms of like registration and what he probably went through, think of it like you built a car by yourself, and then you turn up to the DMV with this car you built, and you're like, look, this is a functional motor vehicle that I created, and I need to get it registered, essentially. It wasn't registered previously. It was scrapping parts. So you go through all the legal processes of getting it registered and paid for and stuff like that, and you get it a license plate, and you get your, registration and stuff like that. And that's all under his name. So he went through and did that while he was dropping people off, essentially. And because there was no previous ownership, you guys don't have a legal, potentially, the outset expectation of what Billy is banking on is you guys don't have a legal claim because he just claimed he built this thing and it had no previous ownership.
Right, and
so that's the process he went through versus what you would be fighting against.
Yeah, and to that same end, we have to also consider that if we were to somehow prove that we had this, they probably don't give a fuck about what happened on the desert world of Saragon 2, Like, oh, well, it doesn't matter that we were the ones who saved this thing from the scrap heap. Ultimately, he's the one who put it into the legal system, so as far as the legal system is concerned, it belongs to him. Which I know is exactly what you're saying, Alex, but, like, I don't know if we could even somehow like, I doubt we'll find a sympathetic bureaucrat to be like, oh, you guys saved yourselves and an entire town by building this thing and repairing it. Okay, well, sorry.
It would take
who it belongs to.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it would just take it just before you go to a DMV essentially and say, hey, we actually built this and blah blah blah. Just know that it would take something either really clever or like a really impassionated plea or a creative solution to get beyond this, beyond just like because he's done the paperwork. Bureaucracy and credits are king.
My question was really just if there was like a legal way for us to do this, which I guess potentially there is. If this seems like it might be worth it would be a whole lot of trouble.
Long-term small claims court.
Yeah, we do have a little bit more issues. Speaking of, can anybody lend me like $50? I'm good for it.
Like for what, Rhodey?
Well, if you must know, it's to send my daughter a message.
Why is that gonna cost 50 credits?
Fuck, I don't know how much it would be. Who knows what it is?
It would cost like 3. Alex, how much would it cost to send a message?
Well, it depends how far away it is. It's 2 credits per star jump. So if you're sending something to somebody in like a different, like if you want to send something to Dugon, for example, where we did our first one shot on the way to Dugon, it would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24 credits to Dugon from where you are right now.
Sorry, Rhodey, I kind of need to hold off, man. I don't really have an income, and that hotel room for the past week has really cut me dry. I've been eating a lot of ramen.
Cut to Nick eating fucking suckling pig at expensive restaurants.
Lobster and all this other shit.
Yeah, Nick's Uber Eats order for today in real life was a whole roasted pig.
75 pounds of pure pig flesh.
Instead of a burrito.
Actually, I won't hold it against you. That's fine. If any of you could spare a couple bucks, I promise I will. I am good for it. I honestly not only use it for the message beer, which I know is what you're expecting.
Well, we've got a room in terms of what I'm paying for. I'm happy to hold that. Why don't we all just get like a couple odd jobs in this town, save up some, and then we can find our way out.
If you can tell me the exact amount, I will provide you some. I need to keep my funds close to the chest as well, but I will do it in exchange for a small favor.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you want.
Loan me. No, just kidding.
Give me that middle pipe, big boy.
Really is no shame.
This ain't the first dick I've sucked.
I don't doubt that. Weevil, you hear a bloop as his recording software turns on, and
Mr. Roadkill, please answer a question for me.
Yeah.
To whom do you owe your life?
Weevil.
Who saved you on Saragon 2?
That was the big, strong Weevil and a big old robot dick.
I am a computer program, so the flattery is... It will get you nowhere, but it is nonetheless appreciated.
And the recording ends, and 50 credits are deposited into your account.
Yeah.
I have accomplished a short-term goal.
Oh, nice. What was the... Oh, I guess we'll hear at the end. That's
Yeah.
All right, well, I will, I'll pat, Weevil on the, shoulder. Hopefully it's not hot this time. Thanks, buddy. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my hand. That's my masturbating hand. I'm gonna head out to go potentially or hopefully send a message to my daughter, and check on her. But we don't have to go over that right now.
Yeah. 24. It's gonna cost you 28 credits to get a message to Rose, just as a heads up. Monetarily, when you go to the...
Okay, I will send a message to her, and if you want to go over that later, we can. If you want to do it now, that's fine too.
I guess let's do it now, just because we're kind of just meandering around right now. I hate you guys. Yeah, everybody has stuff to do. I feel like everybody has things to do, and there are a litany of options before you, but nobody's making a decision on what to do. Like Collie mentioned, this is something I want to drive home, is that there are timelines and consequences and going on. Like Collie mentioned, what if we all get odd jobs? But like Collie, if you recall, I have numerous times stated that there's a 48-hour or so time limit before Joseph is gonna skip town and leave the planet. That could be. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, odd jobs for a day aren't really gonna be much of a thing. Like, hey man, can I get a job for today? Like being a day laborer is, probably going to be pretty difficult to find just a Home Depot gig where you can stand outside there and paint somebody's house for $40 in a day.
No, I don't know. Probably can flip a fucking sign. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but they want to hire full-time sign spinners and not somebody who's going to be employed for 12 hours. Yeah. So I want to point the point out between a long-term kind of let's get side gigs for X amount of time versus like the short term of like you guys have ticking clocks on individual stuff. Anyway, so we can do that in the meantime while everybody else thinks about what they want to do. Rhodey, you go to the local NDHC office, and it's much like any other one you have seen before, much like a Target. They have a pretty unified standardized appearance within their offices. Lots of gray with blue floors, and everybody behind them are wearing like those gray, kind of almost like Star Wars, like the Empire officers wear gray uniforms. Hi, welcome to the NDHC. What can I do for you? Oh, you'd like to send a message? Where to? Who? Please fill out this form. And they will video and audio record you using state-of-the-art equipment if you would like, or they will accept a pen drive with data on it if you have it, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just, I guess, record it there. I probably look like shit, which hopefully will help Rose to believe what I'm about to tell her. I feel like her instinct is to think that I'm lying because I am a... So, makes sense. I'll even like mess up my hair a little bit more to try and look like extra disheveled, All right, here it goes. Hey kid, a lot's happened in the last couple weeks. I know I missed our call, and I'm real sorry. Look, I don't really know. I mean, I got an excuse, just like I always do, but point is, I'm sorry because I didn't mean to. But something happened, kid. The ship I was on had crashed, and Katie's dead, but I'm in a little bit of trouble. And I don't really know when I'll be able to contact you next or send you money, but I want you to know that I'm okay and I miss you very much, and I'm real sorry, kid. I'm so sorry. Just yeah, be better, okay? Be better than me. And I'll end the message, and that's it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take your 28 credits, and they'll send that out, and they give you a business money-back guarantee that your message will be received in 7 days or less.
Cool. Then that's all I'm gonna do. I'm actually not gonna go get a drink or anything. I'm just gonna go back to the hotel, and I will give Weevil, should he accept it, the remaining 22 credits from the message.
Yeah, I mean, we will take it back. No questions asked.
Yeah, Rhodey stumbles back into the room that you guys have all been sharing, and you guys have all been presumably discussing your next move as a group.
Yeah, speaking of, in the interest of moving things along, Weevil suggests that we should head to Junus. Because Jenko and Kali both have means of getting us to that city based on their foci. So that's not an issue. And that's where the money is and the leads. And, you know, since no one else seems to have pressing matters in Polis, if we want to eventually look at being able to have more freedom and get off world, that's our best bet.
What cardinal direction was Eunice?
East, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kali's gonna bid that we stay here for what, like 2 more days until I can, like man, I only have a lead on my mom for the next like 2 days in this town, and then I'm kind of lost again. So I need a bit more time. If you guys are gonna skip, I get it, but I need to like post up and try to come up with an idea as to how to get a hold of Joseph, or like I don't even know if that'd be a good idea, man. I don't. What? Oh, I could.
Would Kali have shared the schedule, like what his plan is, or like he just? I'm curious how much he shared.
Yeah, I mean, I would let you guys know what's going on. Basically, like, Kali's looking for his mom. My only lead is that she's here, potentially in that villa that I've been overlooking for the past couple days. I know that he gets drivers from Sandstone LLC. I know their CEO. And that Joseph Godwater is building a factory like 50 miles north of town. But as of now, I'm like, okay, what is my main game plan, I guess? Because I can't just walk up to Joseph and be like, give me my mom back. That's not, I don't really think that's gonna work.
May I suggest a idea?
Like, sure, dude, what do you got?
You yourself have mentioned that in the time that you have spent watching the Godwater estate, there is a period where Joseph is unguarded and jogging in the upper city. That may be a good time to confront him. Although if... Yes. Yeah, Weevil doesn't know about the house massacres.
He won't mention that, but...
Oh, well, hey, if you're trying to intimidate somebody, I could help with that. It sounds fun.
I don't know if, like, intimidating him is a good idea, man.
No, you just want to kill him? Not a problem.
Man, he's money bags. He's not just gonna walk around without guards, you know? He's driving around in Escalades, for God's sake.
What, is that some kind of platform, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, maybe we could scout out his running path and find a way to... I mean, do you want to talk to him or no? Because if you talk to him, are you going to be in trouble?
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
is
I
Mom
guess at
gonna
the
be in
end of the day, it boils down to what you want to do with this, because we'll support you, but like we got to know if you want to go after him or if you just want to wait 2 days for him to maybe show his head and hope the stars align. But
Yeah,
you know, it sounds like if we
Nick,
wait, he's just gonna jet.
yeah, I think Nick as a player is worried that Nick as a player and Kali as a character are both worried that like if I confront this guy, he'll immediately just call the cops. Because there were whiffs that I was part of this massacre at the house, which I did not tell you guys about, but Collie knows. So I'm like, especially with that phone call from my dad, which is like, yeah, they think I might have had something to do with it, and so if they see me, that might be a big fucking issue.
Okay, what if we somehow, I know this is super reckless, but what if we acquired a car, like the car that he gets into, security-wise, every day?
My main thought process right now was apply to be a driver, but to get a job in 2 days and have him call on that second day, if I get the job in a fucking day, is such a long shot.
Yes, that would be extremely unlikely, considering that he is also a high-profile client. I believe it unlikely that they would send a newly hired driver to chauffeur him.
Okay, they wouldn't send the newly hired driver, but you could intercept that driver, take the car, and pull up.
Do you think we could like hack into their phone system or something? I don't really know how to do that.
I would like to mention that this man is the CEO of a $50 billion company. There is a non-zero, and by that I mean 99.99% chance, according to my calculations, that he will or can attempt to have us all killed at a moment's notice. That is all I will mention.
Okay, new plan. Don't necessarily accost this dude directly, but maybe because we have 2 days, we could put a tracker on the car he gets into, see where it takes him. He's not just going to the factory and home. He's going somewhere else in between.
Yeah, like, I don't really need to catch him, like, now, man. I just need to know where he might go next, you know?
Okay, day one, if we tracked him, we can find where he goes. Then during the rest of that day or night, we can investigate that location. And then day two, maybe accost him as a Hail Mary.
I think Michael misunderstood the problem. Not where he goes, but where he's going to go after he leaves the planet in 2 days is the problem.
Right, well, there's a ticking time bomb where he just vanishes, and we have no idea where he's going to go after that.
Right, but the place he's going in between his whatevers might... We can learn where he's going next from where he goes.
No.
It
is. The dude has a lot of houses around the world, around the multiple planets within the sector, so... It's like,
maybe I should, like, pretend to be, like, a pizza delivery guy and, like, go up to the house and be let in to deliver the pizza.
And then your dick is inside the pizza box, and everyone laughs.
Did anyone order extra sausage?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's ultimately, I think it's kind of what you want to do on this, Nick. Because I'll offer
Nick is also just like, fuck, what is the game plan?
How do you take down a millionaire? You're just a man. Oh, the problems of modern society. Yeah. Welcome to Stars Without Number. You gotta use more creative solutions than hitting things with swords.
I like hitting things with swords.
I mean,
there is always the potential to try and obtain a backdoor hack in order to, as Mr. Quick suggested, intercept phone communications, as I believe that would be the most likely way to identify the next location of Mr. Godwater, or email, more precisely. But
yeah, I think direct contact with him is probably an awful idea at this point. I'm kind of on that path as well. The like tapping into his phone lines or talking to some of his security guards, something like that, you know?
Well, Kylie, why don't you do this? Why don't you think about the best way for you to proceed and just tell us how we can be of use? You know what I can do. I can move stuff with my magnets. I can fight people. I'm real good at talking to people. So I can do that too. You know, Weevil, he's got binoculars.
Yeah, Weevil says, I do not have binoculars.
Can you, like, listen to people's thoughts or something like that?
No, but I can do something. I can see into the future, but only like a little.
I can hear inside people's thoughts. Would you like me to hear inside yours?
And then Weevil beeps, and then he goes, he says,
This is a live feedback of the thoughts inside Mr. Roadkill's head.
And it's just static.
Wow, a fridge with a sense of humor.
Yeah, and then that like, he just plays, wow, a fridge with a sense of humor about like at a 2-second delay. And then he beeps and he stops the bit, but
I'm gonna use my telekinesis to unscrew his legs. I'm taking those fuckers off.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, not to derail us from the conversation, but yeah.
No, I think spending the next 2 days, if we could try to figure out some way to tap into his phone lines or some sort of communication system, I think that would be a good way to stay out of his line of fire and like secretly keep a tab on him. Because I definitely can't contact my dad because he'll send him after me. I definitely can't go up to him because he'll come after me. If I go anywhere near that estate, he'll come after me. There's no way we could get in with all that security.
Okay, what about the factory build site? You could talk to like a foreman or somebody he'd be in direct contact with and ask questions like, when's Joseph leaving? Maybe figure out where he's going next, etc.
Yeah, very good point. We've kind of forgotten all about the factory and just
because the factory is, yeah, it's not necessarily, we don't know that it's swarming with guards or anything yet. It could just be construction workers, and some of them might have looser lips than a security team.
I mean, if we disguise ourselves as one of the factory workers, we could also get some information potentially. Ask like, hey guys, when's the boss coming around, right? That would make sense, but that would be basically relinquishing the lead that I have, and colleague looks at the photo and he's that might be the choice right now.
I believe that a well-placed bet well-placed bribe may also help grease the wheels. If you were to simply walk up to the job site and attempt to talk to one of the foremen and say, I have 100 credits with your name on it if you give me information, he may be willing to squeal like a small piggy.
I feel like a smart person we probably would just take the money and then tell Joseph and get paid more
easily.
money. I'm not sure. I think casual, like charismatic conversation might do the trick versus like, hey, give me this info real quick. Yes, it's suspicious. Here's money.
Sinister.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if anything, the game plan is we can't storm the castle. I think if anything, I think it's like tap into a phone line or some sort of communication system for the next day or two, and if that doesn't work out, then hedge our bets on going to the next town and then finding some means of transport to the factory and talking to someone there. Because it's not like the trail's dead. I know where one of his villas is. I know where I have a lot of information on the guy, even if like my one. Regardless of if I knew my mom was here or not, this would not be the time to fucking storm the castle. I don't have enough information. So
okay, then let's start with the phone line thing because that's like the least bodily harm potential.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, then we consider schmoozing with some construction workers, and if that doesn't work, we consider fucking with his car and his running path and stuff.
Blow up the car.
Yeah, we just kill him. No, I mean I think I am on board with plans A and B, not C, because if we're not going to kill a single sleazy music manager for fear of being caught, I think if we were to try and kill a multi-billion-dollar tycoon, that's not that killing was necessarily on the table at all, but fucking with him, I think is we have to do it from a distance. And I think it's also fair to mention that there's nothing saying that Kali can't necessarily figure out where he went in the near future either, like we have to think about this from the perspective of we have no way of getting into his estate. We're not equipped to deal with an army of paid mercenaries. We're not equipped to maybe even hack his phone line, because who knows if they have an internal communication or if they use the city communication. And also, if he did go off world, we can't pursue him because we don't have a vehicle.
Actually,
especially
okay.
if he leaves the system. So
don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like it may almost be safer if we dug into him deeper once he's gone, like the day after he leaves, talk to the people he just talked to. I don't mean wait. I mean like if we miss him, if we fail in the next 2 days. Once he's gone, there's less, guards on him. There's less chance of confrontation. We could just, have casual conversation about, yeah, where'd that dude go? And just be in his footsteps.
Mm-hmm. No, I think Holly's starting to realize that, like, we're at a point where even if we were to have the opportunity to, like, charge him, we don't really have the resources in order to do so.
Yeah, so,
I think safe bet of, like, tapping phone lines, seeing what's good there, and then saying, well, shit, man, we tried what we could. I can pick up another cent somewhere, because we do still have this villa, we have the factory, we have other means of getting another whiff of where he's at. So
yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'm also interested in putting a tracker on his car.
Well, it's not his
or the car that picks him up, which is going to be hard to do. We'll have to
we don't know if it's the same car. Alex, when I was watching for multiple days, did I happen to notice if the license changed?
Yeah, you got the license plate, so it's the same car.
Oh, it's the same car. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could try that. That's not a bad idea either.
I mean, all that would really tell you is the location that he goes to, other than the job site. But yeah, that is a very good point. Is that
no, but that can help.
That's an
because then if we
okay, maybe we have to figure out the route that car takes every day that it comes by, and find a way. If the car ever stops at a certain stoplight or like by a bridge or something, Janko could just be like hiding under like some bridge or like tunnel and just throw a little magnetic tracker. See if it works.
I mean, shit, if you can get me close, I can use.
You can do that, yeah. You should
I just don't think that you have one.
Well, we could probably go try to buy or create some kind of tracker.
Hey, you're footing the bill. I got $0.
I only have a few dollars. I believe that Mr. Quick or Mr. L. Flower should foot the bill.
I mean,
if we are talking about equity.
This is like my thing, so yeah, I'd be able to spot this.
I think it'd be really fucking funny if he was like, "What do you mean, man? I thought we were all in this together."
Hey, fucking communism.
All for one and one for all, man. You know. No, yeah, but
Weevil, you've been working for 2 weeks straight. Didn't you make a ton of money?
No, I was working in order to secure the safe housing for over 8 dozen or 2 dozen people. You and I are not the same.
Yeah, Weevil's a dick this session. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I guess that begs the question of what are we doing? Sounds like we have a general plan of, hey, let's investigate the communication lines and hope that we can maybe identify Godwater's next location, so that then we can focus on making money, and Nick can eventually have a timeline of when he'll be there, because frontal assault is not an option. And then, like, that begs the question of where we're going to find some kind of magnetic tracker, or how we would look into how they communicate. Because my guess, and Weevil will say this too, is that it's probably an internal database, because I'm guessing they have some form of high security, and they're not just using public Wi-Fi. You know, like they've definitely got internal encrypted data, and with the way that hacking works in Stars Without Number, as I understand it, you kind of have to be at the physical location to at least implement a hack. And you know, you use line shunts, which are like physical disks that you slap onto a computer, and you try and initiate a hack that way, if I'm correct. And so, you know, maybe we could do that with like a telephone box or something on the outside. But if we wanted to get anything substantial and they have entirely internal communications, chances are we would need to get in there on a more granular level. So that's my 2 cents.
It brings up good points. What do you guys do?
I mean, the more I talk about it, the more I think magnetic tracker slapped onto the car is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, because if we figure out where he goes, then we can talk to the people there.
Or we could just talk to the people at the factory too. You know, like we know one of those locations, and chances are sniffing around his estate and asking security won't give us the same answers as
It'll
doing
just
that
bring
at
up
the
issues.
factory.
Let's do the tracker with the car. Where can we buy one of those?
Yeah, you do a little
Probably
sniffing.
Judas.
You do a little sniffing around, and a magnetic tracker is nothing that's honestly. It's not black tech. You know what I mean? It's not Maltech. So like, it's like, hey, I want to make sure it's fucking Find My AirPod, the physical device. So like, you can buy one of these without illegal intent. So that they are for sale within certain electronic shops.
Walk into a Barnes and Noble.
Hey, you guys do a little shopping around. You can find some scrap shops, some electronic shops, some compad shops, essentially. And I'm going to price this, I think, between a line shunt and a remote link unit. That seems fair because it's not as crazy as a remote link unit, but it's a little more specific than a line shunt. So I'm going to put it at 150 credits, is what most of the people are going to charge you for one of these. And it's essentially going to be a small circular disc about the size of a sand dollar, maybe a couple of centimeters thick, with a epoxy adhesive, epoxy adhesive slots on it that you fill a couple of like. You fill these slots with adhesive, and then you're able to stick it to something, and it'll stick for up to about a month. And then the adhesive might wear off, and then you can obviously just reapply the adhesive, and the adhesive is, you know, like a credit or two per bottle. So, and you'll get a free bottle per purchasing this thing. So it's 150 credits if you want to buy that. That's what it'll do. Give you a GPS locator that'll work planet side, essentially. As long as you don't leave the planet, you can tell where this thing is. You sync it to your compad. Pretty cut and dry.
I want to see what else do they sell at this store.
This place has a lot of computing gear. So if you look under the computer gear section, they have they have data protocols, which are essentially user manuals for varieties of different, you know, like you would, Weevil, you're familiar with this, and like you need a different data protocol to hack into Micros Tech than you would NovaCore Tech. You know, it's essentially
like
a user
Mac
manual.
Windows,
Yeah, it's a user guide to Mac versus Windows, and then like other things like Aurora Tech vehicles might have their own data protocols. So they have data protocols for a variety of things. They cost like 1,000 credits per thing because they're user manuals, and once you know them, you fucking know them. So it's a one-time purchase. It's an investment thing. They also got plenty of compads and data slabs, so essentially phones and laptops of different degrees and techs levels and makes and brands. They got line shunts for sale. They got stiletto charges, which are essentially just like syringes you inject into technology to auto hack them, but they're also incredibly expensive. Storage units and tight beam link units and remote link units, comm servers, radios, translation devices, A cells, B cells, electric hoverboards.
I want to try and negotiate with the person behind the counter. Since, hold on, I can roll 3d6.
Sure.
Oh,
he's a flying bug man named Watto.
Oh, fuck yeah. Hey, Watto, he's got a big pot belly.
You got any Jedi? No, he's a relatively thin Grackul with pale yellow skin. He's got his 4 slender arms, and he's like, skibba, you know, Grackul.
He says his name's a Pokemon.
My species greets each other. Because your family here.
Hey, welcome to We Fix It. My name is Charles Entertainment Cheese. What can I get for you?
Hey, what's going on, man? I need one of these like tracking things, and Collie holds up what he's looking at.
Yes, one of our finer models, the the virtual Compad Link Unit. VCLU. It's gonna be 150 credits, lifetime warranty. Not actually, but it will work forever. Comes with a free bottle of solvent, and I'll give you a deal on any solvent you need to come back to get that thing to re-stick to whatever devices you need to keep a track of.
Like, yeah, man, I was hoping we could, like 150 seems kind of steep for my current situation. I was hoping I could, like, throw something your way and we drop the price just a little bit.
Okay, if you want to do a trade-in, we take used electronics as well. Excellent. What do you got?
I mean, this is a little unconventional, and keep it calm here. Collie wants to pull out the, not pointing it at him or anything. Collie wants to pull out the sawed-off shotgun.
He just aims it at this guy across the counter.
Hey, can you trade me your life?
He looks at a sawed-off shotgun that you pull out of your pant leg off of the holster you've been carrying on it. He's like, oh.
Like, it's pretty crude technology, but you could throw a couple bucks for it. I just don't really know where to sell it myself.
Yeah, we don't really deal in that. That's not really something I could resell. Maybe I could use it for shop defense. I mean, we already got guns back here just in case. I mean, I could take maybe 10 credits off of the top of that, 140.
Would I have any idea? Like, that is not even close.
That's not a good deal. Yeah, this dude, he literally prefaced his counteroffer with, I don't really have a use for this. I'll take 10 credits off. So you know he's not buying it at market value, but...
Yeah. That's about all I got on me right now, unfortunately. I could give him my laser pistol, but I think that's much more valuable than the sawed-off shotgun. Fuck it. I think I gotta do the 150. Actually, could I be like, hey man, look, you definitely know this town a little bit better than I. You could probably, you could find a guy who's interested in something like this. I have a feeling a smart man like you, a good trader in the system. You really know your way around this place. Since I'm just blowing through, I'm trying to lighten my load a little bit, and I don't really want to lose my AirPods, so I need this air tracker.
That's triple the size of the AirPods.
Yeah, I know what you're going for, so I'll ask for a talk charisma check. But he's in the interim, I'm gonna say DC. It's gonna be a high DC because it's like, and this will support what the DC is about. It's gonna be a DC 12. Because he's going to look at you and he's going to go, we deal in electronics, ain't nothing fancy about that. It's all gears, levers, and gunpowder, kid. I mean, maybe I'd buy a laser pistol off you, a laser gun off you for a little bit more. But, like, you're selling me, sticks when I deal in rocks kind of deal.
Could I argue for a trade check?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, hold on.
Absolutely,
I want to reread my specialist thing. I'm pretty sure it's just I get 3d6 and I drop the lowest, which I'm pretty sure is better than a +1. So yeah.
Yeah,
trade charisma?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And your trade is auto setup. So great. Whew. Technically a new scene if you want to re-roll, I suppose.
Hell yeah, I do. Why the fuck not? God damn. Oh, no. I mean.
Yeah, it's not gonna do it. What I will say is, because you came close, I'll take 20 off 130.
You got yourself a deal.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why I stole his voice, but I did.
Are you making fucking fun of me? It's up to 160 now.
like, no, man, no, it's not like that. I just, I'm struggling with the voices, bro. Come on.
Oh, you're hearing voices? Me too, bud. It's back down to 130. I sympathize.
The voices tell me to cut you a deal on it.
Pazuzu, loaded disease, is telling me I should say sorry. Yeah, so he'll sell it to you for 130 in your sawed-off shotgun. You now have
yeah,
what is it? VCLI, Virtual Combat Link Unit. Syncs to any piece of technology that has any sort of GPS locator in it, anything that'll tell where you are, you can sync it to it. Anything that connects to Wi-Fi, you can sync to this thing. You pair them basically like a Bluetooth device using a password. It will locate itself and each other within any planet side. Any planet side location. If you leave planet, you'll probably go out of range. Works for about a month until it's probably going to fall off, and then you can just reapply the glue and it'll work indefinitely for another month, and then yada 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 yada.
Fuck yeah.
One income.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I want to do there. I got the thing, so I think now it's time to pull up like a stakeout. Can we just like casually sit at the end of his driveway or something?
Yeah, he comes out of his house and goes, "What the fuck are you guys all doing here?"
Who the fuck are you kids?
I mean, you could obviously watch it from your balcony.
Yeah, I'm going to rely on Rhodey for this. I'm going to ask for Rhodey's help.
Rhodey, it occurs to you, and this is me stressing certain limitations. It occurs to you that if you wanted to magnetically slap this thing on, so to speak, magnetically, wink, you require a visual link. So you technically wouldn't be able to slap this thing up underneath the car. You'd only be able to slap it onto pieces of the car that are visible to you. And if you're doing this from a distance, that would be potentially pieces that are more visible to other people. So there's like a merit, a risk versus reward aspect of getting somebody in there to put it on the underside of the car versus Rhodey doing it from a distance. Lower risk, higher chance it'll be found.
Yeah, I think maybe I can figure something out with this. So it needs to be. So here's the question. Even if it's magnetic, I can't like put it under the car.
It's not actually magnetic. I use magnets as a thing to, because you always say magnets. That was me playing into the bit. So you're essentially you're physically attaching this thing. Essentially, it's sticky on the underside. So you normally need to physically push this thing up against the underside. And what's essentially going to happen, because I'm putting certain kind of hard limitations on your telekinesis and stuff like that, because it's like otherwise super busted, and this isn't me nerfing it, this is just me like playing by the strict rules. In that if you can't see it, you'll lose whatever. So as soon as this thing kind of goes under the car and you lose sight of it, you're going to lose telekinesis, and it's probably going to be before you can firmly press this thing to the underside of the car. You'll lose visuals before you can apply enough 100%. Pressure. So it's like, especially from a balcony 2 blocks away. Or even across the street. Yeah. So risk versus reward. It's up to you guys to decide how to handle this, but you do have the materials.
Okay, what if we try to find like a bridge or like a grating, like a platform where you can see through it? Is there anything like that in town that we can figure out? Like,
yeah, I mean this whole town is built vertically, so he spends most of his time on the upper layer. So there's a lot of city below you.
I have a weird question.
Yes, I will kiss you. Yes.
Oh my God! Thank you. All right, bye guys. I gotta click a flight to New York. So it's built vertically. Presumably, the sewer systems would either all funnel to the bottom or be interlaced between the layers. Would there be a way for like Rhodey to essentially hide out in what is the equivalent of a sewer grate and wait for the car to drive over it?
Yeah. I think part of the issue is you don't know where the car goes.
Sure.
It almost definitely passes over. You guys can see in the photo here and the concept art, there's bridges, there's spots that span over things, and what you guys don't see is like in the mist down below here is more city. There are aqueducts and bridges and undersides of bridges. So yeah, Rhodey could essentially wait in the equivalent of an aqueduct, drain pipe, or the underside of a bridge to make use of this. You just need to know which bridge aqueducts he's going to pass over.
And Kali has, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a vague idea of a general trajectory that he would likely be going?
Like down a street, I guess, right out of the...
Kali's watched this car for like 4 or 5 days at this point, right?
But Kali's only watched the house, so he's seen the car. It drives east every day, and as soon as it rounds the first corner, he loses sight of it. So it could be going all the way across town, but the ultimate destination, the route taken, is not known. Because Kali has had no way to follow the car.
Is there a sewer grate on that street? If it's on either side, potentially we can figure something out so that they have to move and go the opposite way. I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
We could maybe create a diversion where...
And this sort of, just for, flavor, we're all talking about this. Rhodey is essentially having this a Charlie's wall type of process. He's like pacing back and forth, smoking 4 cigarettes at the same time.
Pepe Silvio, rolling the shit.
I spent some time on the sewer. I think I'll be fine. I have like
he's like getting really into it.
I think the idea is, think of it like a normal street, right? Like sewer grates on a street are primarily just used for occasional drainage, and this is a desert planet, so they don't have that many. I'll admit. So there would be like a sewer grate on his street, but it's on the curb. You know what I mean? So the chances that the car is going to drive over it and you'll have a line of sight is probably pretty slim. You might need something a little more open than that.
So, let's say I find a way to get into the sewer, and I'm looking out from that sewer grate. If let's say you stop in the street and the car's got to stop so it doesn't hit you, that'll give me enough time to squeeze this little sucker on without anybody being
I will say you are very hard to understand. I don't know if that's the same for everyone else.
He's hammered. He's like, let's say you get in the street, and then I heard your It's basically the way that went.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Well, that's just how Rhodey sounds.
Yeah, exactly. It's very fitting.
Just the left half of his face started drooping as he has a stroke in the middle of his sentence.
Yeah, you realize that Rhodey is his symptoms of dementia. Here, give me a second to switch back to my computer, and I'll do that again. As I switch, I will enunciate very clearly so you can understand me. But the thought process is I would jump into the sewer. I would find my way over to that particular drainage grate. I would look out through that drainage grate, and Weevil would step out in front of the car and stop.
I just heard Weevil would step out in front of the car and stop.
Collaborate.
And stop it. And then I would have a view from below, at which point I could then, in line with the mechanics of Stars Without Number, see the underside and put this thing on the bottom.
Gotcha. Weevil will say,
I am not opposed to this plan, as I believe it is one that introduces minimal risk to most parties involved. However, I have been hit by a car before, and people do not seem to want to stop for VIs or manufactured life forms as myself, as much as they might an organic. I am still willing to do it.
I mean, they'll be going maybe like 10 miles an hour. It's a residential street, so worst case scenario, you dent your bumper a little. No big deal.
I mean, I could always throw on a cloak or something and block the car.
No. If they see you, the game's over, kid.
What about Jenko? He's interesting looking enough to stop and look at.
Well,
That's
he's
okay.
also
He's also
small, so they
alien
might
tall.
not see him and just run him over.
Yeah, exactly. Was that a possum?
With Janko, or sorry, I hear with Weevil, and maybe 2 people might be worth stopping for.
Yeah, we can
Even
make
if they're
ourselves
strange people.
like
What is that odd creature? Quick, hit it with the car.
Here's an idea. Let's get Weevil. Let's get a baby stroller. Put Jenko in the stroller. That way they'll think you're just taking care of some little alien baby. And they'll stop. They'll stop for the baby, you know.
Man, I think that's 150
Really like
bucks.
Janko, you're so very small and tiny that you're roughly the size of a baby, is my point.
I fucking love the idea though, dude. I'm on board with this only because I think it's fucking hilarious for Weevil to be like a robotic nanny and Janko just to be there in the stroller as backup.
Collie's down.
They're there. I am your new mommy. They're there.
Yeah. Like
I'm just imagining like somebody looks in the stroller and they see like an alien baby plus like guns in there.
Goo goo motherfucker.
Do it. Run it.
I mean, all we need to be is a distraction, and we won't be that big of a, like, we're not going to be blowing things up. We will be just some fucking weirdos in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, right. The idea is it would take all of like 10 seconds. You know, like this sort of, I don't know, setup will take 10 seconds for me to put the thing under. You guys then move. You know, it's not a big deal. And then we'll wait out for a little bit and then, maybe meet up at like the worst possible bar and be a better day, you know?
I'm on board. I think this is not only an extremely funny plan, but I think it's one that could work. Like it's dumb, but it's not putting ourselves at extreme bodily harm.
Right, it's
the only
dumb,
thing we need to
but
do is
it's
buy a
also
stroller.
smart.
Would it be a plan that we came up with if it wasn't dumb?
This is maybe the dumbest one, but this is also one of the most straightforward. So, literally just right. I guess the plan then is Rhodey is in place in the sewer. Weevil is with Janko, and he just fucking takes a 90-degree angle, acting over robotically like he's got a malfunction or something, and just walks in front of this car right before it's at the point where the sewer grate is. And then he just pauses for a second, looks around, and then just is like, oh, never mind, and continues pushing to the other side of the road.
Now, should we go get drinks now and prepare, or should we just wait until tomorrow when we're finished and get drinks then? I say both.
I would say later.
Okay.
It might look like kind of suspicious if the nanny is drunk.
He's a ribbon.
No, you misunderstand. Weevil is gonna be the nanny.
Well, yeah. Weevil's gonna get drunk and then put his fucking.
Golly. We've been together now for weeks. You understand he's a robot, right? Like he can't. You understand that, don't you? I mean, I'm sincerely worried about you.
I thought we were like 10 zillion years in the future. They don't have robot booze yet.
Are we in the future? I feel like we're in the right now.
Yeah. Rhodey is a good point for once. Are we in the future? I thought we were in the
I have a
present.
great point all the time. He says to no one.
Well, I know what business I'm starting.
What, a fucking psychic?
No,
I wonder-
robot booze.
Collie's like, I'm gonna
Golly,
design.
best of luck.
He's like, I'm gonna design robots that can get drunk, and everybody else is like, why? You mean less productive
Golly,
fucking
best of
robots?
luck. I wish you nothing but the best. So are we gonna do this or what? We all agree? Good idea,
Yeah,
best idea?
Let's go to a fucking Space Babies R Us and buy a shitty stroller and.
Let's hit up a thrift shop. We can do it.
Also, if the situation gets out of hand, Jacob will just make screeching alien baby noises until people walk away.
Yeah, I'm also
They don't want to investigate it.
expressly looking to buy a gigantic pacifier, the biggest one they have.
Janko, can I hear your best goo goo gaga?
He just starts making bat chittering noises.
God, I hate that.
Weevil plays it and then reverses it and then down pitches it, and he's like,
Oh, there is no hidden message. I thought you were doing some kind of satanic ritual.
Bro, I'm fucking in love with this plan for one, all of the ridiculous details that are, like is going on with it, and secondly, because this is all for Collie, and meanwhile, I'm gonna be sitting on the balcony with a pair of binoculars, just watching you guys dress
Oh
up
yeah,
like
you're doing
baby.
nothing. Look, well, Connie, if they see you, the game's over. You understand, don't you?
Like, yeah, dude.
He's eating a bag of fucking
Are
Funyuns.
you eating something? You got snacks? Are you holding out on me? I'm starving.
Nick is eating that suckling pig earlier.
Well, let's do it. Let's go find a little Jenko stroller and get this this party partying.
Yeah. For a stroller, bonnet, and giant pacifier, I'm gonna charge you 5 credits.
What about
People
diapers?
want this.
You get diapers
And
as
a
well?
diaper. Yeah, you can get a diaper.
Don't forget.
Jenko actually does this.
Don't forget a lollipop and like
Yeah.
candy and snacks
Yeah.
and baby alcohol.
I'll include, a diaper, a bonnet, a pacifier, a giant lollipop, and a stroller. 5 credits.
Yeah, I'll pay that because I want to see Jenko in a diaper.
Whose short-term goal was that?
That was my other shirt now.
It's Jenko's fetish.
Yeah,
That was his
once
long
I don't
goal.
have-
I actually just leveled up Jenko.
Yeah, for once I actually don't have a mess with Jenko goal. I'm just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
So you guys can let me know if there's anything in the interim, but you guys have, mid-afternoon, and then dawn of tomorrow would signify like the 48-hour mark. So it's, let's say it's a Monday, bro's leaving fucking Thursday morning, right? So your Monday afternoon, he's leaving Thursday morning. So you have Tuesday, Wednesday to essentially try and pull this off.
I'd say we do it Tuesday, because then that gives time for a backup plan if we need. And it's time for us to act on once we figure out where this car is going.
Yeah.
Are we all on board?
So in the interim, it's like I guess we could potentially skip forward to, let's say, Tuesday evening, which is when this car usually comes by to pick him up, and sort of go through the motions of how you prepare this then. If that's okay with everybody, or if nobody else has any plans or things they want to do beforehand.
Assuming Collie is able to tell us a specific time, like, oh, he leaves at 6:45 every night. Weevil is waiting in an alleyway with the stroller at like 6:30, and then he's going to try and time his walk so that by the time the car is pulling up to the house and is going to turn around and leave the driveway, he is ready in position to walk in front of it, assuming it's not going 400 miles per hour.
Rhodey will also mention, I also think it's wise that we each leave this area separately, Weevil and Jenko, maybe you guys go, and Kali, you go your own way and I'll go mine, and I'm going to kind of like, I don't know if I have like a little map of the area that I can kind of reference or whatever.
Yeah, you have Google Maps.
Yeah, like a little, Google Maps. And I'm looking for like the shittiest, smallest hole-in-the-wall bar, and I'll point to it. And then let's meet here. Let's just all meet up here, find our own way, and last one there buys a drink. So I'll see you there first.
Rhodey is gonna like do like a half-ass like throw the thing, and then he'll just turn around and fucking book it.
Sprint. Yeah, sprint towards the bar. He is not gonna be last.
He doesn't have any money.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, so that's the plan. We will be there a little early and be ready to walk in front of the car, and that's all my prep.
Cool. Okay. Going once, twice. The evening of the following day arrives. Collie denotates that the car usually arrives around 6:30, sits there for a good half an hour, and then Joseph comes out around 6:50 or not. Yeah, it's 20 minutes rather. And then Joseph comes out around 6:50, and the car immediately takes off once it gets there. The car pulls up fully to the second thing, so like, Collie, you never get a good look about Joseph getting in the car, kind of deal. It's hard to see the front door of the estate kind of deal, but you see him get in roughly, sort of. Somebody gets in the car, they drive off, they come down the way, and then drive off towards the east. I guess let's do some quick prep. Weevil, I think I want you to roll me just a general stealth dex check to not raise suspicions between certain passersby, to remain inconspicuous. And then Rhodey, I think I want you to roll me I don't think I even need you to do a check. I think I just want a physical save as you crawl through sewage.
Cool. Yeah, and can I use my expert reroll?
Yes.
Okay, because it's presumably been a couple days.
Yeah, this will be this is a new scene. This is the heist. Ugh. So it's 6.
That's a total of 3 or 6 for Weevil.
Yeah, 6. So you get a lot of. I'm gonna say technically no.
Okay.
I was looking for an 8.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna add 2 inspiration points to that and bring it to an 8.
Okay. So never mind then. You feel like you remain pretty inconspicuous, while Rhodey, you find a nearby entrance to an aqueduct that you're able to essentially pry open and crawl through a sewer. Considering that there's no actual drainage, there's not a lot of waterfall in this. Essentially, the sewers are just all poop. You know what I mean? It's just all. There's no excess water that needs to be drained off. It's all poop and waste. So you're crawling through this for a good Shawshank Redemption 100 yards, and you're able to get to
E. coli.
Yeah, you're able to get to the sewer grate that you need to. The one that you guys agreed upon. It's just before the turn that Collie denotates that, the car always goes east and then takes a turn and then fucks off. I don't know to where, so you get it right before it turns. And Weevil, is set up in a prime position to stop it, near that grate, and there you go. Collie, you're the man on the lookout, and
I make a lot of
well, you guys can call each other now. You guys have Wi-Fi. You guys can use your comm pads as walkie-talkies as freely as you want now, because your signal.
Still make the bird noises?
If you want. Yeah. Somebody might look up at you as there's a madman screaming on a thing, and it's like Joseph makes you, but.
Weevil's compad plays a pre-recorded bird noise as his ringtone, and then it picks up Collie's voice, and it's caw caw.
It's kind of like how Nick has Connor as his alarm.
Am I still?
Oh, dude, you've been my alarm for a year now.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I like to imagine Alex hears that every morning at 6 a.m.
Wait, what is this alarm? What does it say?
I gotta. It's a 30-second long yeah boy while Over the Moon from Forza plays. I gotta find the. I'll send you the audio after the clip.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
I feel like an hour to figure out how to make a custom ringtone and stuff.
Great. So Collie, you see the vague shape of the front door open, and the figure shuffles towards the car through the desert haze, and and you see the car door open, and it remains open for a minute, and it closes, and the car loops around the driveway and begins heading back down towards the street level.
I call him up. I send the signal.
Yeah. Yeah, you ping Weevil and whisper "caw" into your compad.
Caw, man, dude, caw.
Yeah.
And Weevil whispers to Jenko,
Act as much of a baby as you can.
And begins to get into a position to walk up the street and then take a sharp right angle right when this thing is within eyesight of Rhodey in the sewer.
Also, for what it's worth, Janko's prepared to jump up if the car is going to hit us. Like, to be safe and not die.
What about Weevil?
Too bad.
So yeah, you get the signal from Collie, who's watching from the balcony, and Weevil, you start your route. You've timed out mathematically how long you think it'll take you to get in the way versus the trajectory of the car, and you begin pulling out and walking down the sidewalk, ready to make your sudden right. You see the car heading your way, and you are able to enact the next phase of the plan.
Weevil, okay, can I describe how this looks?
Sure.
Weevil,
I would love it.
Okay. Weevil does a very sharp movement as a rope. Like he is trying to look as like he's a very mechanical being. Most of his movements are not fluid because he's pneumatics, pistons, etc., etc. But he looks extra clunky as he's like right foot stomp, left foot stomp, just looking like someone doing a robotic dance almost, like trying to look unassuming and low tech. And as this car crests the hill and comes within view and within sight, he acts like he like twitches, like he's like having some kind of electrical short out, and then shoves the stroller with Janko in it into the street. And after about 2 seconds, his upper body turns and he begins stomping after the stroller and chasing it, trying to catch up with it before the car collides with it.
Oh my god.
Janko starts crying for real.
Weevil's no more than a couple seconds behind, but yeah, he very like he just like shorts out and just full arms extension pushes the stroller in front of the car.
I think I'd like a perform check from both of you. Weevil, I think I want an ant, and Janko a charisma, but I will take with suggestions.
9 for Weevil.
Yeah, it's a DC 8.
Am I gonna have to make a check of any kind for this?
Probably. Yeah. So Janko begins to, I think, just kind of scream a little too real.
It's like a full-grown man.
Yeah, a little bit. But Weevil's performance is very convincing, as this robot accidentally pivots its upper body and launches this baby into the street that to an onlooker might be like, is this a full-grown man actually in a baby stroller? However, the car, regardless, does come skidding to a halt. Loud enough of the well, rather it's less of a brake squeak and more of the grav wheels just tufting out an intense amount of air, enough that Rhodey, as you lie prone on your back, the back of your head soaking in shit water, it begins to kick up a bunch of shit water essentially in the sewer as the airflow goes downwards into the sewer grate, and that's the sign essentially that the car is slamming on your brakes, and you hear a loud as this Escalade kind of lays on its horn, and the window begins to roll down. Get the fuck out of the way! Rhodey, you have your momentary distraction. You are, the sewer grate is bolted down and heavy, and you need to get it essentially open to either poke your head out or,
Wait, so I don't have like just a regular clear line on this?
No, imagine
vehicle?
imagine a sewer grate, right? Where it's got like an inch, it's got inch wide slits in it to let water through, and you're underneath it.
I presumably would have already opened it.
Okay, sure, yeah. So, I guess give me a. How would you open it? Are you gonna force it open with telekinesis prior?
Yeah, I would use because I can apply, I think, 400 kilos of
or lift
Yeah.
400 kilos, so I could presumably open this guy.
Yeah,
No
okay,
problem.
so just expend an effort then, and we'll say it's already, you've busted the seal. So you go to lift it back up now, just with your physical hand, because you've already pried it loose. So I think just give me a, I think I'm going to ask for sneak dex, essentially you float an object across the street as subtly as possible to get it up underneath this car.
You're telling me that people would notice something like that?
Goes,
I don't know.
wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything that I can use to.
I mean, the only thing I think is Weevil could try and give you a +1 by acting even extra distracting, but I don't know if that would help.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would help with that. What can I do here? Because obviously I'm telekinesising it there, so maybe it like slams into the side of the car or something, because I'm like I have like shit and piss in my mouth from the sewer, and I'm a little distracted, and then I can it's maybe still gets attached, like I am able to attach it, or what do you think?
So I think that, so here's what I don't know the answer as far as what can I do here. I think that's more on you, but I'll tell you what happens. That's kind of exactly what happens is this grav car laying on its horn begins to flare its grav car engines for a second, and shit water kind of just at one point bounces up into your eye as you're kind of like above it, kind of peeking your head just over the street level, and suddenly as this car kind of lays on the horn, it's like, get the fuck out of the way, as the driver's yelling at Weevil. He revs the engine, flares the grav propellers, and it kicks the water up, and it kind of blinds you for a split second, and as you get near the car, it then kind of it wobbles, and you kind of apply a little more force than you would want, and it slams against the back passenger side of the car. And Weevil and Janko, you hear a dunk as the driver is now is yelling at you. Get that baby! What the hell is going? Watch where you're going! I gotta kill! And then, wait, what the fuck was that? And he begins to get distracted by something that he presumably heard, but doesn't know what it is.
And this is on the outside of the car, or the
it's on the back passenger side of the car. So it's like it's attached to the bottom of the door.
Could I try and like unstick it and then stick it back under?
Yeah, so essentially, I think that's essentially like, hey, I failed the check, can I redo it real quick? I think what I'm going to ask for is before he notices, I need anybody else to buy you more time before you get to retry it again.
Man, Weevil sees so we saw that thing. We saw that it's not in the optimal position, right? Like we saw.
You essentially know what's happening. You guys heard a thunk and what the fuck was that? You know that something probably didn't go right.
Okay, Janko's gonna throw his lollipop like directly at the windshield of the car.
Oh my god.
That's amazing. That's better than anything I was gonna do.
Actually, while this is going on, I have a plan too, but I guess you could play that out first.
Yeah, and Weevil is like, no, do not do that, like wagging his finger in front of the baby, air quotes, in the stroller.
I think I'll need, I think I'd ask for maybe exert dex.
Okay.
DC 8.
Oh wow, another almost ones again. Okay. Well, I throw it. It goes somewhere.
Yeah, you don't have your reroll for the scene? Have you already used it?
Oh, no, I have not used it. I will use it here because I want this to work. So
the plan scene.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. Exert one more time.
Ooh.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, the lollipop kind of goes a little lower than you would want it to, as you're trying to lay down in the stroller so you don't like sit up and reveal yourself as a full-grown man, and it kind of just like clanks off the headlight, and the guy's like, what's going on? And he's mildly distracted for a half second as his car's all clanking all around, but you're not sure it buys Rhodey the time to safely detach this thing and reattach it without being noticed. Collie, you had something you wanted to try and do?
Yeah, I wanted to. This is pretty out there, and it might take a hot sec, but I wanted to try and call the car service and be like, "Hey, I think there's an issue with license plate number. You might want to call the driver. There seems to be a something as a distraction." It might take a bit, but I feel like it has some grounds. Like the driver would get a call and have to focus on that.
Okay, so yeah, while that's going on, you begin to dial his number.
I'm like, oh shit.
You get a receptionist who's like, "How can I help you?" And you're like,
ma'am, there's I think there's something happening with one of your vehicles. I think the driver's like in trouble or something. You might need to call for help."
Yes, sir. Which one of our vehicles would that be? Would you happen to get a plate number or a car identification number? It should be on the rear passenger side door if you were able to grab it.
Yeah, it's Collie lists out whatever number he sees. Yeah, the driver seems to have maybe gotten a scratch on the door or like a flat tire or something. I think it'd be good to give him a call.
Oh, that sounds quite dangerous. Can't be driving with a flat. We'll give this driver a call immediately and look into the matter. Thank you for ensuring that our drivers are safe on the road. Can I ask for your name, sir?
Like Eddie Grapes, and Collie hangs up.
You hear her say right before you hang up, she goes, "So that was Eddie Grapes?" Click. You guys see Rhodey Weevil and Jacob. You guys see this driver open his door. You see him kind of lean back in the car and say something real quick. Looks like he's talking to somebody in the back seat, and he then opens his door and begins to get out of the car. And Rhodey, just as you're about to think that things are busted, just as you're about to notice that he's about to notice, Collie, why don't you give me a talk charisma check?
That's our fucking Eddie Grapes.
He gets out of the car and begins to walk over, and you see he begins to look towards the backside of the car, and physically, before his head can turn, you guys all hear pring, pring, as he looks down towards his wrist and taps it real quick, and begins to kind of mumble. And he's kind of looking all around at this point as he's beginning to have a conversation. He turns back towards the car, and he's looking at the front tire real quick, and that, Rhodey, buys just enough time to try again. So go ahead, you can roll a I think in this case, a telekinesis. I'm going to ask for telekinesis dex to quickly unstick this thing and reattach it.
Oh.
And with that, when he's not looking, you're able to suction this thing off, overcoming the sort of adhesive strength with your will of force, and then quickly, before he's able to look towards the back tire to inspect which of his tires is apparently flat, reattach this thing to the bottom of the car that you have a vantage point on since you're covered in poop water. So he does a quick lap around the car.
I'm the smartest.
He looks over at the sewer that's yelling and blows the deal. He does a quick lap around the car as he examines all the tires, and he's on the phone the entire time, and it seems that he resolves the issue, or rather confirms that his car's in working order. But at this point, it's too little too late for him, as presumably Weevil and Jacob get out of the road. Rhodey has
that he hears another. We're gone.
That's
Brody has attached this to the bottom of the car, and
Rhodey, having done this, immediately tries to get out and sprints towards the bar. He's going as fast as he can, covered in shit. Trying to be first.
yeah, unfortunately, it's quite difficult because you do have to do that 100-yard crawl through shit before you can get out and run. But
Yes, and Weevil is pushing Janko in the stroller at full tilt through the city streets. I am not going to be beholden to that son of a bitch.
Local news, man sprints through town center covered in feasting.
what about Collie? What does Collie do after he sees the plans of success? Pretty much.
He covers himself in shit and runs.
Yeah. Well, Collie shits his pants because, oh my god, the plan worked. So Collie, with now fresh poopy drawers, starts hoofing it as soon as he sees Weevil start to run.
I love that you guys are running. Like almost half of the reason that you're running is because I just said I'm running, and you don't want Rhodey to drink for free.
You made it a race. Now
Yeah, so I want exert decks from everybody except for Janko. Weevil, you can get a +2 to your roll as Janko is presumably helping you. He's like wheelchair style, using his arms to use the wheels.
fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm not last. I know it's a good plan. You know, just like runs. Like poop and he just like falling off of him as he sprints.
Like, follow the
He feels
poop
so
trail.
good about himself.
Yeah, and with that, you guys are able to reconvene. You guys are able to convene at it is one of the least popular bars in town, Rhodey. It's one of the lowest rated places you could find. It's called Pipe Dreams. It is a dive bar with a resident. It's not even a strip club. They have one resident robot stripper, and it's Pipe Dreams with a Z. And it is the diviest of shitty dive bars. And, yeah, unfortunately, Collie, you have to get down. The elevator is so slow in this swanky hotel as a shit-covered Rhodey followed by a diaper-wearing Janko and exhausted Weevil beats you there.
Also, I didn't we already make up the rule that Palgans don't actually shit? They just cough up owl pellets. So Janko is wearing a diaper for no perceivable reason. He does. No one else does.
Yeah, unfortunately, Collie is the last one there. Rhodey is covered in shit, and Janko is wearing a bonnet and a diaper. But you guys make it there. And are able to reconvene once together as Collie, you check your comm pad and you get a blip GPS signal of this car currently in motion as it's driving across town.
Fuck yes. Collie's got his eyes on that. No. See, that's why Collie doesn't make it. He gets caught up in the elevator and he's looking at where the car is going while also trying to navigate to the bar.
Collie's running into walls and shit. Get off your phone, kid. Some local yells at him. But yeah, you guys are reunited, planning a success. With enough time, give it 5-10 minutes or so, Collie, you notice that the car stops on a street corner and sits for an extended period of time. It seems to be sitting there indefinitely for the next, we'll say 5 minutes. You know, it's making a truncated stop there.
Okay, can I
quickly
just take note of all these?
Yeah, you reference the Google Maps of what's on the street corner, and there's like an electronics store, a fancy restaurant, a sort of public park. You know, it's like one of those like Manhattan public parks where it's all concrete with a few trees jutting up through it. It's like a public space, rather, quote unquote. And a suit store. Those are what's on the four corners of this particular block that this car stopped at.
It was an electronics store, a suit store, a park?
A public space, I should rather say. You know, some benches and faux trees, and a fancy restaurant.
What's the name of all those places, Alex?
How many people work there?
What's the name of all the NPCs that are in these buildings?
So the name of the public space is Martin Luther King Jr. Public Space. The fancy restaurant. The fancy restaurant is just called A La Mode. The suit store is called Calvin. Just Calvin's. And the electronics store is the fourth one. Is called Shunts Are Us.
We're Shunts.
You happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I want to go to Shunts Are Us.
Great.
All right.
There you go.
Anyway,
you guys are all
so
in the
we're
bar
in the
looking at
bar, I
Rhodey's Collie's combat, and you see that information.
Yeah, and Weevil is spraying Rhodey down with a disinfectant, even though he is still covered in shit. It doesn't really do a whole lot.
Just like putting Purell on shit-covered hands. It's like, yeah, just rub it in.
If your hands don't look like this, you're a liberal sissy.
Yeah, at this point, a bartender wanders over to you guys at a table, and she's like, "What can I get y'all? Wet wipes or 2 credits apiece?" She seems unfazed.
It's alright, I'll just go bathe in the sink. Where's your sitter?
Does he answer?
She looks at you very disgruntled because she knows she's gonna have to probably clean up whatever mess you make, and she goes, "It's around back."
Hey, okay. And he's gonna go look for the bathroom and clean off the shit.
Mm-hmm. It takes a long time.
In the meantime, I guess, does the car move at all? Like, we're here for probably 10 to 15 minutes while he does that. But
the car does not move for the next 15 minutes, we'll say, since you guys are waiting.
Okay.
Mr. L. Flower, are you buying us drinks?
Rhodey brushes back now.
Collie's glued to his phone, but yeah, he'll just like he'll kind of he'll kind of wave his hand at you like sure order.
I will have a Louis the 16th shot, please. No, I will have a tequila on the rocks.
Oh my god, no way. What is everyone getting shots?
I'll order the same for Rhodey because I don't know what the fuck he likes, and then I'll order. I mean, Jenko's here, but he hasn't said anything, so.
And may I have another tequila on the rocks, but in a baby bottle?
Mm-hmm. 3 tequilas on the rocks, and
Collie not paying attention at all. We'll just go, like make it 4.
Okay, 4 tequila.
Whatever it is, man. 4.
Jesus Christ. 4 tequila on the rocks, 1 Coleman style. Got it. And she wanders off.
1 what style?
Don't worry about it. And she eventually comes back with a bunch of tequila and a baby bottle. 8 credits.
All
right, pay up, boyo.
I'll subtract it.
Yeah, so if you guys are gonna sit here and watch it, then the car sits there for about an hour and a half before then making the trek back to Joseph's house. And that's essentially all it does. And then it goes back to the depot, the headquarters of Sandstone.
Okay,
With that in mind, I wonder if it may be a good idea to either stake out the area when he next goes there tomorrow, or perhaps attempt to access security footage, although that would be highly illegal.
Yeah, and like asking might be a little too suspicious. Maybe there'd be some clues if we went there, but like I don't know. Maybe waiting until tomorrow is the best idea. Couldn't hurt to peek around today, though. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you guys have like plans later, but I think that's what I'm gonna go do.
Yeah, no, it's
I
probably
mean, maybe
safer
things
to
like
do
that.
it. It's probably safer to peek around where he was, not where he is.
Yeah, I agree. Also, every scene for the rest of the session, I'm imagining Janko in that diaper.
Yeah, Janko's fit.
He,
is
he,
now,
he takes the diaper off.
Oh no,
That
he's
was-
not wearing anything.
Alex, I'm imagining that Janko was wearing like the Senor Pink outfit from One Piece.
Oh my god, yeah, basically. Yeah, and that's essentially what we're gonna probably call it for the day, because I think the rest just leads to further in-depth investigation that I don't want to launch into since it's almost 11. So you guys have the destination of the car. You realize that it probably takes Joseph there. He does something in that area for about 90 minutes and then goes back home. Kali, that lines up with your assessment of how long it's been in your days observing him in the days prior, that like he gets picked up, he disappears for about 2 hours, he comes back. So accounting for travel time, you're like, yeah, he seems to leave for about 90 minutes. The car sits, or he seems to be at whatever destination he's at for about 90 minutes before he goes back home. And it's like, is he suit shopping? Is he hanging out in this public space? Is he looking for some electronics or doing something? Is he eating a fancy meal? Is he doing something else in the nearby area and he just happens to be dropped off in this corner? That's left to be investigated. You could obviously talk to the people at these locales to potentially gather more information. You could go there tomorrow to see which one he goes into, since you now know where he is, but that would be your last day to nab him. There's pros, cons to all of it. I think you guys should come up with a firm plan for how to handle the rest of the situation, so we can hit the ground running next session, because there's a lot of goings on, because we haven't even touched on the Junis stuff and the money of it all.